Respected seniors, Captain G R Gopinath sir, Gopal Husur sir, Ashok Dalwai sir, seniors from our Ajit's Knowledge Forum, Shashidhar Algur sir, Sudarshan Satija sir, Professor S.P. Nadagowda sir, Prakash Saigavi sir, Virendra Sharma ji, Commander Srikant Kesnu, Dinesh Badgandi, Jagdish, Parvesh Bantnal, Santosh Tilgul, and his technical team, our beloved principal who has joined us from Bijapur, Captain Vinay Tiwari ji, and the teachers and the students who are there. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening to you all, and a warm welcome to today's launch of the Ajit's Knowledge Forum. On behalf of Ajit's Knowledge Forum, it's an honor for me, Shiv Prasad Khened, roll number 505 from the 1977 batch, to act as your host this evening for the two sessions. The first session will be the launch of the Ajit's Knowledge Forum, and the second session will be the one which we are all waiting for, the maiden inaugural address, which will be delivered by one of the most distinguished Ajits, the one and only Captain G R Gopinath sir. Knowledge is humanity's greatest asset. It defines our nature and it will shape our future. The body of knowledge is assembled over centuries. Yet a single mind can extend it immensely. Einstein reimagined space and time. Darwin distilled the chaos of life to a single idea. Raman looked at life differently, and Turing figured out what it means to think. Bhabha and Sarabhai, students of Raman, applied their knowledge to build institutions like Department of Atomic Energy and ISRO. Knowledge is one constant which we continue to acquire from cradle to coffin. In recognition of the essence of knowledge, the batch of 1975, under the leadership of Satish Dalwai sir, are attempting a major reformation, restructuring of the Ajit's Alumni Association. And one of that is the Ajit's Knowledge Forum, which will be launched today. Before we progress further, may I request Sri Sudarshan Satija sir, the chairman of the Ajit Knowledge Forum, and the man who is primarily responsible for organizing this event, to deliver his welcome address. Before I ask him to come and take the mic, I'll briefly introduce Satija sir to you. Satija sir hails from Gurgaon. He traveled all the way from Gurgaon, almost 2,000 plus kilometers, to come and join the Sainik School Bijapur in 1968. He belongs to the 1975. Unfortunately, he could not join the NDA. So what he chose is the best next alternative, which is to go and join the Punjab Engineering College. Incidentally, it is the same college from where Kalpana Chawla, the cosmonaut, passed out from. I think she was perhaps 3 or 4 years junior to Satija sir. After passing out from the engineering college, Satija sir joined the prestigious Indian Oil Corporation, and ever since he worked there for all his career, up for about 35 years, rising to the highest level of executive director of the Indian Oil Corporation. I will not take much time because we have a whole host of speakers today. May I request Satija sir to please deliver his welcome address? Satija sir.
Thank you, Shiv Prasad. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It's my privilege to welcome you all and be part of this momentous history that Ajit's Alumni Association is creating. I'm here on behalf of Ajit Knowledge Forum, AKF as is popular. Happy to see you, so many of you, connected on the Zoom as well as YouTube links. Let me begin welcoming our chief guest of the evening, Captain Vinay Tiwari, the principal of our alma mater and a senior naval officer. He, by his gracious presence, connects us to our alma mater, Sainik School, Bijapur. He has kindly agreed to launch the Ajit Knowledge Forum and share his thoughts. Thank you, sir, for your cooperation. I am personally exhilarated, just as you all are, in welcoming one of our own and globally renowned Ajit, Captain G R Gopinath. He has kindly agreed to share about his roller coaster life and kindle a new josh in the Ajit family and the youngster in particular. Sir, you have honored us by agreeing to deliver the maiden lecture. On behalf of the AKF, I extend a warm welcome to Shri Gopal Husur, president of our Ajit Alumni Association, a well-known former top cop of Karnataka, Shri Hosur has offered his wholehearted support to our forum on behalf of the AAA. We thank you, sir. We are grateful to you. We are what we are only because we were molded by our gurus at school. One of the most dedicated gurus of our times, Shri G.D. Kale sir, is amongst us, and even at his ripe age of 90, we are excited to have his presence at this juncture. Sir, we seek your blessings and continued guidance. We welcome Ashok Dalwai, who will tell us about the purpose and philosophy of AKF. Our AKF has, in a short period, generated so much of positive ambience and genuine interest among Ajits across the batches, space, and time zones. This is obvious from the impressive participation this evening. I warmly welcome you all, our Ajits, Ajit families, Ajit friends. You have rewarded us by your presence. Our special welcome goes to the staff and students of Sainik School, Bijapur. You all make us feel secure and comfortable by letting us feel as members of Sainik School, Bijapur. Welcome all of you once again, and we look forward to welcoming you every second Saturday of every second month now on. Ajit hai, Abhit hai.
Thank you, Satija sir. The launching of any new event is an auspicious occasion, particularly in our Indian traditions. We invoke slokas and mantras before starting any new events. And what better invocation can we have to commence this event than our very own school song? Before I request our young Ajit Santosh Tilgul and Jagdish to play a song, I'm happy to introduce Santosh to you. Santosh, who's actually acting as the technical director. Santosh is from the 99 batch of our school and from the Wadiyar house. He's a graduate engineer in computer science from the BVB Hubli Engineering College. He has worked with some of the best IT companies like Yahoo, Citrix. He's an MBA with a gold medal. He's currently working with a company called Smarsh India Private Limited. Santosh is very passionate about music and sound technology, and therefore, it's no wonder that he runs an audio recording studio, Kruti Audios, from where this event is being live telecast both on YouTube and Facebook. Before I request Santosh to play the school song, may I request all the Ajits to please stand up for the Sainik School song, please. Thank you.
It's where we're taught one and all to run by stress. Bright baby, the light and great beats forever it will shine and not maintain. There's a land where it's full and reach out for never fly, nothing come true. Give it one day, eyes and a tongue. Yeah, I wish we take up the national product. Class feeling and in the film we strive to seek and never to yet. It's a fond desire and everyone's wish to be at it, that it, then to accomplish. There's a land where it's good and reach out for never fly, but it gonna true. Give it one day, eyes and a tongue. Yeah, I wish we take up the national product. Ajit the head, Ajit the head. Ajit the head, Ajit the head.
Thank you, Santosh. It's now time for us to understand the genesis for the formation of the Ajit's Knowledge Forum. Who better to talk about this than the man who has conceived this, Ashok Dalwai sir, who himself is an epitome of knowledge which cuts across diverse subjects of his voluminous interest. Although Ashok sir doesn't need any introduction, I'll be failing in my duty if I don't do that briefly for that matter. Ashok Dalwai sir is from the 1975 batch, and he's an honored member of the elite Indian Administrative Service from the 1984 batch. He has served the state of Odisha and Karnataka, and later in his career has been with the Government of India since 2010. He is presently serving as the Chief Executive Officer of the National Rain-Fed Area Authority in the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare in the rank of the Secretary to the Government of India. Dr. Dalwai sir is a student of the University of Agriculture Sciences, Dharwad, from where he has completed his graduation, post-graduation. He also has a PhD in economics. Apart from holding several positions in his career at field and policy formulation level, Dr. Dalwai has contributed immensely to effecting several reforms, including an integrated 10-year plan for land and water management in the district of Kalahandi in Odisha. He has contributed to the first agriculture policy of the state of Odisha in 1997. The first textile policy of Karnataka state in 2003 was formulated by him. He is the architect of the self-assessment scheme for assessment of property tax, which he introduced for the city of Bangalore. This scheme is now being followed by most of the cities across the country. As the chairman of the Interministerial Committee on doubling farmers' income, Dalwai sir has authored a volume report, which is recognized as one of the most comprehensive and evidence-based strategies in recognition of his services. Dr. Dalwai has won several awards, including an honorary doctorate, which was conferred on him by his alma mater, University of Agriculture Sciences, Dharwad. May I now request Ashok Dalwai sir to please let us know the genesis behind the formation of the Ajit's Knowledge Forum. Dalwai sir.
Thank you, Shiva Prasad, for your kind words. Good evening, everyone. Namaskar to everyone. Respected President Shri Gopal Hosur, Chief Guest of the Day, Captain Vinay Tiwari, Speaker of the Day, Capt G R Gopinath, our respected teacher and mentor, Shri G D Kale sir, Chairman, Ajit Knowledge Forum, Sudarshan Satija, Advisor, AKF, Shashidhar Albur, members of the team AKF, all Ajits, Ajit families, and Ajit friends. Namaskar to all of you. Our first Ajit alumni were born in the year 1967. As 8 of the first batch walked out to the portal of Sainik School, Bijapur. Born as Old Boys Association, our network has evolved over the last 53 years into a strong body of 5,000 today and has come to be known as Ajit's Alumni Association, or AAA in short. The seeds of the AAA were sown in the late 1970s by many of our seniors. Today, a strong global network of Ajits exists, sustained largely by Ajit camaraderie and trust. With growing Ajit numbers, expanding geographies, diverse interests, and generations of Ajits, the need for harmonization of the kaleidoscopic interests has assumed critical importance. The delineated delivery of services needs to be optimized. The operation and management functions need to be transparent. The decisions need to be criteria-based and egalitarian. This prerequisites adoption of systems, processes, and procedures that will promote uniformity with flexibility. This is called institutionalization. Institutionalization, the intangible, will manifest into the tangible through certain structures and references. To illustrate, but not exhaustively, these encompass statutes, rules, regulations, and guidelines. Preamble containing the vision, mission, goals, and objectives. Permanent central office with requisite manpower and concomitant office devices and gadgets, and run as a live window in tune with adopted office systems. Recognized revenue sources and accounting systems. Manual of elections, an elected body to lead and manage the organization. Friends, an institutional framework is a necessary condition, but not a sufficient condition, as the economists are wont to say. An institution is at best a body, a corpus. However beautiful and robust this body, it will remain listless and lifeless until and unless it is infused with life. That life will come when we, the Ajits, decide and volunteer to share our individual soul, heart, and mind with this entity called Ajit's Alumni Association. The collective of our individual Ajit souls will transform into the collective soul of our Ajit Association. The road to this transmission and transfusion is organization of large number of and appropriate activities and initiatives platforms. Not just this, but platforms that facilitate Ajit interaction and intermingling in an intense, positive, and multi-directional manner. Most alumni associations are dictated by annual get-togethers, which are essentially a socialization rendezvous, a one-off regimented celebratory activity. Of course, many of them also undertake some useful welfare activities that are more charitable in character. Our AAA envisions to go beyond the form and become more substantive in organizational delivery of a plural basket of services. We wish that our association is seen not as another symbolic or aesthetic body, but as one that is substantive and utilitarian. Hence, the need for initiatives that are more regular and consistent, not transient and just a flavor of the season. The purpose shall be to engender a sense of security and comfort that comes from being member of a family. Here it is a family of Ajits for whom the umbilical cord has come from the Science School Bijapur. The Ajit Knowledge Forum, rather AKF, as has come to catch our imagination in a short period of a month and a half, has been contemplated as one such platform that can host the Ajits with regular, fixed scheduled, and theme-centric utilitarian interactions. The AKF is designed around consciously delineated themes, keeping in mind 3 generations of Ajits that represent our Ajits Association of the day. These themes stand articulated as life skills, both personal and professional, with particular emphasis on younger Ajits. Promotion of entrepreneurship in various sectors of the economy, history, science and philosophy, contemporary national and international affairs, inspiring and motivating life stories of Ajits as also from others in the society. In true spirit of sharing of responsibility and decentralization of authority, a working committee has been constituted to manage the AKF. It has been mandated to decide on the topics, the speakers, the module, the modalities in sync with the identified themes. The only caution the AKF is expected to take is to maintain its characteristic as an apolitical, secular, and universal platform. The forum shall avoid controversies that are probable around politics and religion, which are intrinsically polemical in nature. The forum shall invite speakers representing a diverse spectrum, capable of sharing the knowledge and wisdom and not just information. We need speakers with whom we can partake of their interpretations, opinions, thoughts, and life lessons. We don't need what can be accessed from the omnipresent Google Guru of the day. Dear friends, the forum for its maiden lecture couldn't have invited any other better person than our very own senior Ajit and elder brother, Capt G R Gopinath. He is someone who has dared to dream big and dreamt to see them translate into actuality. He is an Ajit we are proud of. He is a citizen that India is proud of. Friends, as I prepare to bring down the curtains on my thoughts, I must thank 2 entities and their leaders. Firstly, the AKF team led by Sudarshan Satija and Shashidhar Alabur. They have made this platform a reality in exactly a month and a half since we mandated them through a release on 30th of June 2021. It is their energetic and competent members who have put their heart and soul into AKF. Thank you, Siddharam Nadgoda, Prakash Saigavi, and Virendra Sharma. You all impart the needed maturity. Thank you, Shiva Prasad Kenneth, Shrikant Kesnur, Dinesh Badgandi, and Parvez Bantnar. You all bring the needed dynamism. Special thanks are due to our youngsters, Jagdish, Santosh Tilgul, and Vijay Thakur. You bring the needed vitality and technology. The second one is the Ajit's Alumni Association Executive Committee, led by our dynamic and one of Karnataka's well-known top cops, Gopal Hosur. Both of us not only share the school tie, but also the region of our homes, Gokak, well known for its delectable indigenous sweets. I would take this opportunity to assure all the Ajits that with Gopal Hosur at the helm, the AAA is in right hands. With prior permission of the chairman, AKF, I have taken more time than initially allotted. I have also preferred to wear the blinders for the day and stick to written thoughts in contrast to my proclivity for an extempo. I have done so with a view to communicate with purpose with clarity that all that I thought was needed as we embark upon this hope-filled new journey. Today, we all certainly shall be moved and inspired listening to the man who has lived his life according to his own rules. But what we need to remember is that the inspiration can vaporize into thin air unless we decide to internalize it and experience it ourselves, as Paulo Coelho has said in his title, The Archer. Friends, the best way to say thank you to all those who need to be thanked today is to be present and participate actively in every event that is scheduled every second Saturday of second month at 6 p.m., beginning this momentous evening. Finally, as Baba Sahib Ambedkar said, however good the Constitution is, it is the men and women who determine its validity. Let's aim and work to make our Ajit Association one of the best in class and one among the top 25 associations in the world. Thank you, everyone. Ajit hai, Abhit hai.
Thank you, Dalwai sir. The time has now come for the formal launch of the Ajit's Knowledge Forum. Who better to do this honors than the chief guest of today's program, the Sainik School Principal, Captain Indian Navy, Vijay Tiwari ji, the principal of our school. May I request young Ajit Jagdish to please introduce the chief guest and to launch this program. For launching this program, Jagdish is from the Wadiyar House. He's a techno-commercial postgraduate with over 15 plus years of experience in varied industries such as media, FMCG, telecom, and automotive. Currently, he is working as an independent consultant in the fields such as IT, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. May I request Jagdish to please introduce our principal and for the launching of this program, followed by his lecture.
Thank you so much, Kenneth sir. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me an immense pleasure and it's my great privilege to introduce to you the dynamic personality, our esteemed chief guest of the day, Captain Vinay Tiwari ji from Indian Navy. He is current head of the institution where we all lived for 7 years physically and still continue to live and cherish golden memories of our alma mater, Sainik School, Bijapur. Prior to the present appointment, he was posted as the principal of Sainik School, Imphal, Manipur from April 2016 to April 2018. He hails from Dehradun, Uttarakhand, and has completed his schooling from St. Thomas College and post-graduation from DAV College, Dehradun, prior to joining the educational branch of Indian Navy. He also holds a PG diploma in satellite meteorology and global climate from the Space Application Center, ISRO, Ahmedabad, and an MPhil degree in advanced oceanography from Kochi University of Science and Technology. In his illustrious career of over 25 years, he has carried out various training and operational appointments of instructor, Naval Academy, chief instructor in School of Naval Oceanology and Meteorology, senior meteorology education officer in INS Utkarsh, Andaman and Nicobar Islands, deputy director, Naval Operations Data Processing and Analysis Center, command and oceanography officer, headquarters of Western Naval Command, including the prestigious appointment of Commander Meteorology in the aircraft carrier INS Virat. He has also held the appointment of Director, Navy Children's School, Port Blair, Andaman Nicobar Islands from 2006 and to 2008. The list goes on. So just to cut short, I would like to say about Sir, the officer plays indoor games, that is badminton and table tennis, and has a great taste for sketching and music. His wife, Commander Monica Pandey, has also served in the education branch of the Indian Navy for 14 years. She is also a sport enthusiast and keeps herself fit through regular sports. The couple is blessed with two daughters, Riju and Pihu. The elder daughter is pursuing BTech in aerospace engineering, and the younger daughter is studying as day scholar at Sainik School, Bijapur. Thank you, sir.
I request the Honorable Principal to please deliver his inaugural address.
Can you hear me, sir?
Loud and clear, sir.
Thank you very much. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, respected members of the Ajit Alumni Association. An exuberant evening to all present in this August gathering. It gives me immense pleasure to be part of the Ajit Alumni Association at this inaugural function of Ajit Knowledge Forum, rightly called as the AKF. It's indeed my proud privilege to have the opportunity of being actively associated with this enthusiastic and illustrious group of Ajits. I express my gratitude to the AAA for extending me this opportunity. The alma mater of Ajits, Sainik School, Bijapur, has an enviable track record in academics. The motivation and indirect contribution of Ajits in the training and grooming of the budding cadets is noteworthy. It gives me immense pleasure to put forth the latest achievements of our cadets. In academics, this year, class 12 results specifically, the school has stood second amongst all Sainik schools in the overall performance index. In NDA and Indian Naval Academy aspect, the school has got 9 cadets of the last batch being listed in the merit. Amongst these 9 cadets, 4 have already joined NDA in the 145th course, and the remaining 5 are awaiting merit position to join the 146th course. It's indeed the hard work and dedication of the academic and administrative staff of the school which has brought glory to this institution, and the contribution of AAA in this glory cannot be ignored. The primary aim of Sainik School Bijapur is to prepare our boys academically, physically, and mentally for entry into the National Defense Academy, and also to be the leaders in other walks of life. It is indeed a great privilege and honor for me to announce that Sainik School Bijapur has been able to produce the best leaders in military and so also in the civil services. And I am so very happy to learn that AAA, the beneficiaries of the education in Sainik School Bijapur, are now attempting a major reform in its structure and functioning with an objective to make it more impactful, not just to the Ajits, but also to the society at large. I am also happy to note that in this direction, they are now launching today a new forum called the Ajit Knowledge Forum. I am so very humbled and honored to be invited for the launch of this new Ajit Knowledge Forum. Knowledge and information have significant impact on people's lives. Their association, particularly through information and communication technologies, has the power to transform economies and societies. And therefore, I am very happy to learn that the AAA has realized the importance of knowledge and have launched this new forum. Today, we live in the world of knowledge society, which describes societies that are economically and culturally characterized by a high degree of dependency on their potentials to create a broad spectrum of creative, scientific, and technological knowledge. Based upon the data processing technologies in the information age, most societies are using knowledge strategically as a factor of economic competition amongst nations, as well as amongst society, among companies and services inside the nations. Therefore, in such a situation, how can the Ajits, who are known for their indefatigable character, symbolized by our motto, Ajit hain, Abhit hain, be left behind? The creation of Ajit Knowledge Forum is timely, and I am certain that our school will also be benefited from this forum, and our young and budding cadets will be able to listen to the stalwarts and achievers who will be speaking and sharing the knowledge and experiences with their fellow Ajits under this banner. I convey my best wishes to all the Ajits gathered on this virtual launch of Ajit Knowledge Forum. I would also like to extend my gratitude to every one of you for your selfless and dynamic support to the school. We are and we will always strive together to achieve lofty heights. I also wish in advance to all of you a very happy Independence Day. Thank you. I now launch the Ajit Knowledge Forum. Jai Hind, Ajit hai, Abhit hai.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so very much for launching of the Ajit Knowledge Forum. I now request the president of the Ajit Alumni Association to please deliver his presidential address. I would like to briefly introduce Gopal Hosur sir. Again, Gopal Hosur sir needs no yet. I'll be failing in my duty if I don't introduce him to the young Ajits who have joined us from across the country. Gopal Hosur sir is among those early birds in school, where passed out in 1971. He was the house captain of Vijayanagar House. Sir is one of those quintessential boys, the rural background, the humble beginning. Hosur sir has always charted his own path, including choosing his life partner, which sir did in filmy style. Unfortunately, due to medical conditions, Gopal Hosur sir could not join the National Defence Academy, and therefore he chose a path which is quite close to the defence, that is to serve in the police. His journey from being a deputy superintendent of police to the additional commissioner of police, and so also the challenging task of capturing Veerappan, is truly inspirational and beholds his integrity, courage, honor, and pride of the man in uniform. Hosur sir also has held the most prestigious and sensitive post of the Director of the Intelligence in the state of Karnataka. While on a task to hunt down the dreaded sandalwood mafia, Veerappan, Hosur sir and his men were ambushed, and sir received bullet injuries, which kept him in the hospital for more than 6 months. And courtesy the prayers of his family, Ajits and well-wishers, sir survived. Sir rose to the level of Additional Commissioner of Police, Bangalore, before opting for his voluntary retirement. Even today, sir continues to be very active in social service. His post-retirement contributions to the society include those in sports, particularly in swimming. He's also managing a hospital, dismantling the top position of the Red Cross Society in India. And he has many, many more credits to his achievements. He was known as a no-nonsense police officer during his tenure in Mangalore, where he brought the much-needed improvement in the law and order situation, which had gone from bad to worse there. Sir, may I now request Gopal Hosur sir to please deliver his presidential address. Gopal Hosur sir.
Good evening, dear Ajit, seniors, friends, family of the Ajits, the principal of the Sainik School, Mr. Tiwari, and most important is Mr. G.D. Kale sir, the connect between the Kal Aaj or Kal. At the very outset, let me inform you that I have just been discharged from the hospital after a mild attack of COVID. And Ashok's request that I should be present today evening, the love and affection that the organizers have shown today overwhelms me with great joy. My recovery was much faster because of the great number of wishes that I received from my dear Ajits over the last couple of days. So I'm back at home. I have deliberately not put on the video because this is such a vibrant event. I did not want to show the president of the AAA in paleness. So thank you once again for inviting me to make this brief presidential remarks. Friends, Dr. Ashok Dalwai made an extremely important talk today, pregnant with imagination and very, very practical views on the way forward for the Ajit Alumni Association through various schemes. Today, we have kick-started the re-strengthening and restructuring of AAA. And one of the programs that has come to the fore after a deliberation for quite some time, a churning of minds, a manthan that took place over the last 1.5 to 2 months, is the program, the maiden program that is being launched today, the Ajit Knowledge Forum. So I must congratulate Dr. Ashok Dalwai, Satija, and his whole host team who have worked tirelessly to bring the Ajit Knowledge Forum before us this great evening. Association implies collaboration for greater good. Association implies collaboration for the greater good. And it is in fitness of things that we are now embarking on a great journey where we are going to strengthen, restructure our association to reach greater glory. I would, in my opinion, say today is a moment of perestroika and glasnost. We have broken from the past. We have started a new, well-determined journey to the future. Today, the AAA looks like it is a mission-driven. The AAA will rely on an ever-expanding membership. It will capitalize on the resource-generating events like the one we are organizing today. And it's going to be a great catalyst in building values and creating values for Ajits across different age groups. I would not like to touch upon Captain Gopi at this stage, who is the speaker for this evening, an outstanding alumni of whom we are all extremely proud. We have known enough of him, but today you are going to hear an extremely scintillating account of the journey of his life, his trials and tribulation, his triumphs, and the determination with which he has gone about his life so far. When different generations come together, everybody benefits. And I'm sure this program is going to be a great success. The AAA will stand by all the efforts that are being made. We'll work as one body, we'll strengthen ourselves for the mutual benefit and to be relevant to the society around us. I'm extremely happy that there has been a large participation today, a very vibrant participation. And I'm sure the fruits of this effort will soon begin to be seen, and we'll all be benefited in days to come. Saying these few words, I thank Shiv Prasad Kenneth for a very, very generous introduction to me, and you yourself being an outstanding alumni of this school. We feel proud of each and every one of us, especially the youngsters who are so very vibrant, so active, who in fact provide us with so much of enthusiasm for our day-to-day living in the evening of our lives. I am sure the Sainik School Bijapur, as Captain Tiwari rightly said, is going in the right direction. The AAA and all the Ajits will stand by the school to help it grow into a greater entity, which will be able to deliver what it is expected to deliver. And our association, our get-togethers will keep strengthening, and a lot of value is going to be added to this association in future. I wish you all the best, and may AAA, the Ajit Knowledge Forum, and various other activities that are being planned in the months to come, I'm sure they will all bear a lot of, they will be relevant to each and every individual Ajit, and it will inspire the children at school to reach greater heights in their endeavors. I once again thank Dr. Ashok Dalwai and his whole team. And I also thank Captain Gopi for having accepted to talk to all of us this evening. My pranams to all seniors, my love and best wishes to each and everyone present here, and those who may watch it on the YouTube on at a later point of time. Thank you. Jai Hind. Ajit hai aur Abhit hai.
Thank you so very much, sir, having taken time off, despite the fact that you're not very well. Thank you so very much, sir. With this, we come to the end of the first session, and now we move on to the second session, which is the most fascinating session. To kickstart that second session, which is the start talk by our respected Gopinath sir, I would like to request Professor S.B. Nadagowda sir to please introduce Captain Gopinath sir. Before I do that, a couple of words for a brief introduction about Professor Nadagowda sir. Again, Nadagowda sir is also from the 1975 batch of the Ajits. After passing out from the Sainik School Bijapur, he pursued his passion, which was literature and English. Thus, he completed his graduation and post-graduation in English. He has been a staunch educator ever since and has served as a lecturer, assistant professor, and professor in different colleges across Karnataka in cities like Bellary, Hubli, Chikkodi, and Haveri. He has traveled extensively and has contributed to the field of education at the top level, interacting with topmost educationists and also with the premier educational bodies like the NAC. He has retired from service, but continues to be actively involved in his passion for improvement of college education in India. Nadagowda sir, may I request you to please introduce the speaker of today's program, Captain Gopinath sir, and the stage will be Captain Gopinath sirs.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Dear Ajits, I am privileged to introduce Captain G R Gopinath. His life is a story of a young boy walking barefoot to the primary school at his native village of Gorur in Hassan district to grow up and create his own pedestal under the sun. Captain Gopinath is a man of many facets. He is a soldier, he is a farmer, he belongs to the service sector as much as he is claimed by the enterprise. He is a writer of repute. Above all, he is a man with concern for society. He is our Ajit, we are all immensely proud of. Traveling from Gorur to Bijapur in 1963 to join the Sainik School proved to be an inflection point as future events came to prove. Belonging to the first batch of our school, he passed out in 1967 to join the prestigious National Defence Academy. That he was to lead a high voltage life saw its foreboding as he was called to join the battle for liberation of Bangladesh in 1971, immediately after he was commissioned into the Indian Army. Not one to settle into the sanctum of a secure life, Captain Gopinath hung up his boots and laid down his arms after 8 years of service to trudge back to his village Gorur. Transitioning from being a soldier to a farmer, he began to plough a barren piece of land and live the life of a farmer. No ordinary farmer he was to be. A successful sericulture farmer now, he was keen to test, promote, and advocate eco-friendly agricultural practices. This won him national and international recognition and also the prestigious Rolex International Award for Enterprises. Sorry. An ever restless dreamer, he also dabbled in several other activities such as micro irrigation services, dairy, poultry, and even hospitality industry. His big moment was yet to come to this constructive disruptor. One day he took a domestic flight in the United States of America and got talking to his neighbor, only to learn that he was a carpenter with average incomes. What got Captain Gopinath thinking was, if a carpenter in US can afford a flight, why should it be a prerogative of only the rich in India? This empathy for the common man and his out-of-box thinking resulted in India's first low-fare air travel via Air Deccan, founded in 2003. In the words of one of our most loved presidents, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, Captain Gopinath is generally acknowledged as the father of India's low-fare airline, which enabled the common men to fly. Within 3 years of the launch, Air Deccan operations came to span 70 destinations, almost half of which were rural towns put on the India's air map for the first time. While the hinterland towns found a place on the country's aviation map, R.K. Lakshman's common man saw himself flying in the air. In recognition of this path-breaking service, Air Deccan came to bag several national and international awards, including the Best Low-Fare Airline Award from the Air Passengers Association of India, APAI. Captain Gopinath is also the founder and chairman of the Deccan Charters and Aviation, India's helicopter company, launched in 1997. It caters to a basket of diverse activities in addition to heli-tourism. That Captain Gopinath is a man of many accomplishments should not surprise you anymore. What is unique and a takeaway are his discomfort with stagnation. He has always believed in testing himself, stretching himself, and walking on an unsure path. It is these qualities that make Captain Gopinath stand out as a positive disruptor and contributor to the society. Not for nothing is he considered as an icon of India's aviation sector. This personality of our own Ajit, Captain Gopinath, is well recognized as a combustible material by the movie makers of Tollywood and Bollywood. Based on his runaway hit book, Simply Fly, we have the blockbuster Surarai Potru in Tamil and Udan in Hindi, released on Amazon Prime. Soon you will see Bollywood star Akshay Kumar donning Gopinath's role in biopic. Captain Gopinath is a prolific writer with 2 of his books already published by HarperCollins. A columnist of repute, his articles are analytical, evidence-based, and positively provocative. He has a flair for writing, which makes it an educational and lucid reading. Friends, there is so much to tell about our speaker of the day, but time does not permit me that luxury. However, before I close, I must share with pride at least a few among the plethora of recognitions and awards conferred on this extraordinary Ajit. These include 1. Rajyotsava Award by the Government of Karnataka in 2005, knighted with the Legion of 2005, and the second one, knighted with Legion of Honor, the highest civilian award by the French government in 2016, the Laureate Award in the Outstanding Global CEO category by Aviation Week, New York, and the fourth one, Editor's Choice Award by the Indian Express. Dear Ajits, no time is adequate to do justice to the life story of Captain Gopinath. Since I need to stop somewhere, I shall do so by telling him, sir, you are an Ajit we are proud of. You are a citizen India is proud of. May you continue to serve our country and make us all proud to be the members of our Ajit family. With these words, I present before you Captain G R Gopinath. Jai Hind, Ajit hai, Abid hai. Now may I now request Captain Gopinath to speak to the audience. Thank you, sir.
हरिराम जी चिट्ठी
खोल के पढ़ो तो भैया।
दिल्ली से है बेटे की। अरे ये तो प्लेन का टिकट है। हाँ? अरे सुनो रे, प्लेन का टिकट भेजा है हरिराम के बेटे ने। क्या ढूंढ रहा है तू? ये
हवाई जहाज में दो तरह के बैगेज होते हैं, एक चेक्ड इन, एक हैंड बैगेज। इसको तुम हैंड बैगेज की तरह ले जा सकते हो।
Of Indians, flying is no longer a dream. Air Deccan.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Clear, sir.
Yeah. I'm overwhelmed. I'm speechless, actually. Not just because of the tremendous generosity and kind words all of you have spoken about me, but I'm overwhelmed because my mind goes back 50 odd years ago to the school which I joined in 1963, I think September. So so many emotions. It's very difficult to express it. There's a saying that you can take the village out of the boy, but not, you can take Guru out of Gopi, but not, you can take the village out of the boy, but not the, sorry, I'm getting, anyway, that was a bit tongue-tied. I first like to thank Ashok Dalwai and Gopal Hosur, who has passed on the baton from Gopal to Ashok. It's an extraordinary effort, selfless effort. And the entire team, Satija, I'm not going to take all the names, but some of them whom I can recall now, Nadgoda, Satija, and Shashidhar, Commander Kesnur, a whole lot of you. You have been extraordinary in your efforts. As Gopal Hosur advised, I'll speak largely to the new generation of the students who are in school, to those who are in the NDA and other institutions, and to the children of some of the seniors who may be listening, and also to many people from our school who have left the army, who may be looking for a new career, who are in some kind of a midlife crisis sometimes, who have still, many retire at 40, 45 after 20 years of service, and with many years ahead of them, and often at crossroads. So so this is not going to be a talk to my own colleagues, my dear friends in my own batch. Extraordinary love and affection I have with them, is not to those people who are themselves accomplished, who are now past 60, but to a large number of people who are looking for making a good career, making a good life. So I'll tell a story more than give a lecture from the pedestal, as the title suggests. The journey of my life, and the way it took me hither and thither, up the high seas and the perilous seas, if you can say, of life that all of us go through. And so that film, I'll come back to that again a little later, was basically to just after so many speeches, just to get the tempo about what I'm going to speak, and some of the things that you all know because of the media, but some of the things that you may not know, which I'll like to touch in the next 30 minutes. It was Goethe, the German poet. In fact, Ashok started with that, to dare to dream. He said, dare to dream and begin it. Dare to dream and begin it. Boldness has genius and magic to it. So I think all of our life is, about, in a sense, about dreaming and then selling your dreams to others. It could be your children. You may have to, sell an idea to them, and I say sell in a narrow sense. You have to get them on board of your thoughts. You must carry them with you, whether you're a politician, whether you're a business leader or a corporate leader, a leader in any situation. You need to get others to come on board. So you need to dream, and that dream has to be combined with venture. If it is a dream by itself, it's all vapor, and if it is adventure without dreaming, it'll be slogging, without that taking you anywhere. So you have to dream, and you have to combine it with venture, and you have to begin it. So I think for most of us, who are many times thinking on embarking on a new journey, embarking on a new venture, we are dreaming, we are creating a vision for ourselves, but we don't begin it. So there is that leap there between knowing and doing. And if you have the first knowing, and if you don't have the next the doing, then if you lack this, you lack everything. So you need to embark on that journey. And I think all my life, I have, very intuitively, I have dreamt, and I've also simultaneously begun to take decision and embark on my dreams. When I was in the Gorur school, the school that you saw in the picture there, I was sitting on the floor in those days, because it was a government middle school for about 20 other villages in surrounding villages. It's a 100-year-old school. So the headmaster came and said, "Vandu military shalege parikshe de." There's an exam for a military school. Anybody wants to, go for that? And unthinkingly, because I was a puny boy, I was a little bit of a being bullied there. And when this word military came, it was a little hair rising. Because even today, if you go in rural Karnataka, you have boards there called military hotel. And I one day asked my father, what is military hotel? And he said, in the military, where the fight was, and to defend the country, they eat non-vegetarian. So instead of saying non-vegetarian hotel, they say military hotel. Just like you have a Vireshwara hotel, which is a vegetarian hotel, or a Brahmin Udupi hotel is a vegetarian hotel. So, so this thing was there in my mind that military is something of an adventure. So in that kind of a, I did not know where I was going, but I just wanted to get out of the village. It was a dream that I was seeing, and I lifted my hand, and I went for an exam in Hassan. I took an evening bus and stayed in my uncle's house. Morning, I went to the government school and wrote an exam, but I failed because the exam was in English. And I came back and told the headmaster, Mr. Najudaya, I still remember, tall, imposing man, and said, this exam is in English. And I started crying that I could not understand the exam. So this headmaster sitting in the village took a postcard and wrote to the defense ministry in Delhi, and a simple letter. The Colonel Malik was a person, so he addressed it to him because he was the one who was the first in the kind of principal of the school before the school started, and who came for the interviews and things like that. So then the postcard he threw, he posted in Gorur, and after 3 months the headmaster came again and said the letter was English is not intelligence, and Kannada doesn't mean that you're ignorant. So you're insulting rural people. If you want rural children to join English medium school, then you give an exam in the Kannada language. So somebody saw it, and that was my first inkling that you never take no for an answer. You can question, always question, and so he said there's one more exam in Kannada, and again I was the one who lifted my hand. And there's a very famous poem of Puthi Narasimhachar, a great Kannada poet, who said, "Gudiyache, Gidadache, Gadiyache, Hogona Bandiro Hosanadige." Beyond the woods, beyond the temples, beyond the borders, let's go for new lands yonder. Let's search for the new lands yonder. Andre Gide in another place says, if you want to discover new lands, you have to leave the shore for a long time. You can't discover lands in a ship which is harbored. It is safe in the harbor, but it cannot sail, and there are no risks there. You will be safe, but you will discover nothing. So in that spirit, I joined Sainik School, and I do not want to take too much time on this because I think all of us spoken, but I'll be remiss in not saying a few words. The biggest impact that has had on my life, that still is with me, unconsciously and consciously, is my stay in Sainik School. The first entrance to Sainik School, I still remember there's a friend of ours here called Uday Shankar, whose father Anantramaya and my father was a teacher in the Gorur school. We went by train together to Bijapur, and so those, it was a kind of a culture shock, and where there were students from the rural areas who were not polished, and there were students from urban areas who were in the convent educated school. So there was a kind of a glass ceiling. And what the school did in the case of all of us was they broke that glass ceiling, within a very short period, because our principal, our headmaster, and our teachers, they instilled that humanism, that multicultural expansiveness, that completely removed all the kind of inhibitions that we had, and within a short span, I think even about a year's time, we were molded into good human beings, with no caste, no social barriers, economic barriers, because many of the children were from poor families, from rural families. So I think that was the greatest gift that we got from teachers like Mr. Kale. God bless him. He's there. My big pranams to him. He was, I remember, my Sanskrit teacher. And I always got 100 out of 100 in Sanskrit because I had studied the Sanskrit in Guru. And Mr. Matthias, Ramakrishnaya. But I also remember very vividly two incidents, and they'll move on forward. One is Mr. Haricharan Singh, who was the headmaster. I had never seen a Sikh in my life, except in the Sainik school. And Haricharan Singh, I used to read a poem with great, passion of Where the Mind Is Without Fear by Rabindranath Tagore. That was etched in my mind for many, many years, and a lot of other poems by Rabindranath Tagore. And the other incident that I remember is of K.D. Singh, who was the principal. And K.D. Singh, in one of the school, annual, school days, he gave a speech which said that I'm going to give you the secret of success to life today. And my eyes ears perked up. I said, "What is this great secret he was talking?" And he said, "Hard work. There is no easy way and no shortcut to success other than hard work." He said, "Remember this." That stayed with me, and that has been a kind of a huge motivator in my own life. So I'm not going to talk to you about how to build a company, how to build a brand, or how to list a company in stock market, or how to start a venture. Of course, I'll tell you a story, and maybe you can take some lessons out of that, because each of you have to follow your own dreams. You do not follow the dreams of others. I'm only going to inspire you to seek your dreams and seek your own path and beat your own train. And after Sainik school, I joined NDA and I joined the IMA, and the course was cut short. I was posted to Sikkim, my first posting, and I reached there at about 7:30, 8 in the evening, and then my unit was packing, and they were all mobilized and they were on the way down. I reached there by about 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, all the way from Bangalore. And as I reached, unit was mobilized, and it was an artillery unit, and we were moving down the hills next morning at 4 o'clock to reach Siliguri, to the corps headquarters, where we were told to move to the war. So though the war began in December, so my batch is called Born to Battle, because that is the slogan for my batch, the 38th batch, because we were the first batch and we moved to the course was cut short. I think even 39th of BGV, moved to the war. So we were in Bangladesh in October, though the war started in December, and it was a in a sense it is a glorious experience. It is also a horrific experience when you see people dying. You see innocent people dying. The whole of Bangladesh, millions of refugees. All this had an impact on you. And anyway, after the war, I came back to Sikkim. I was posted in a high altitude post for 2 years at a point called 4752 in Chola, next to Nathula. Then from Sikkim, I moved to Bhutan for some time. Then I moved to Kashmir, and I was in Rajasthan. And finally, after 8 years, I decided, I must do something on my own. I did not know what I wanted to do, but I definitely knew what I did not want to do anymore, which was to continue in a government job. It was a glorious life. It was one of the best periods of my life. The army, I think, is the most secular of forces today. It is what is holding our country together. It taught me, apart from my school, it taught me everything I know about life, about camaraderie, about sacrifice, and about courage, and there's nothing that I had not learned in the army. But I felt that I was in a cocoon, and I wanted to. I was adventurous. I had trekked a large part of the Himalayas when I was posted there. I traveled all over India on motorcycle. I went to the USA for 4 months and I trekked all over US. And I came back and I said, I want to do something different. And there should be a joke in the army. My CEO would say, either you'll, because I was always outspoken, he said, either you'll get court-martialed or you'll become a chief of army staff. And I felt that the former was more likely, because you can't be so outspoken in the army all the time. Though my commander, General Narahari, who was my commander in one of the postings, was the most outstanding generals I saw, because when I was the mess secretary, when army commander was coming and I was the mess secretary, and I was a bit strict, and sometimes I feel unreasonably so. And I came and asked him, sir, what do we do? Do we serve him scotch? Because I got a call from the ADC that he drinks only scotch. And General Narahari said, no, we give him our whiskey and our rum, and we don't charge him. So I was in a dilemma, because the ADC kept calling and saying that he doesn't drink anything but scotch, so don't take any chances. But anyway, when the drinks were served, they brought, I served him our Indian whiskey. And he said, what do you have? I said, I have this Indian whiskey and I had some rum. Then he took smelt it, whiffed it. And then he said, I'll have my soup. And so that was the kind of commander I had. And once, when I was in this brigade in Trivandrum, I came across three of us, two other colleagues of mine. We came across three girls who were in the hostel, and we were going around with them, and we were dating them. And one day the girl called me when I was playing tennis with the commander. He said, urgent call. So I went to the mess and to pick up the call, and she said that my parents are locked me up. They're going to get me married. Please come and take me out of the house. I said, what? I said, how can I take you out of the house? He said, no, you have to do it, because I'm not asking you to marry me, but you should lift me out of the house. And so I said, okay, I'll come tomorrow night, and send me the address. And so I wrote down the address. I'm just telling you this small story as to sometimes you are lucky by God's grace, providence. So I felt that since I dated that girl, I cannot let her down. It looks like I'll have dished her. So I asked my other two friends, Captain Major General Kochigan, who is no more now, passed away, and Brigadier Suresh Rao, and I said, look, Suresh Rao is here in Bangalore. So I said, look, can you come with me? And there was another Jog who became Lieutenant General, was the second lieutenant in the Gurkhas. They were all from 15 GR. I said, look, we'll take two motorcycles and go and do a survey of the house, because it was a house with about 6 feet tall compound wall. So we decided to go at about 11 o'clock at night, and I'll go inside and bring the girl out and send her off to Bangalore. That was the plan. So at 11 o'clock, we put on our canvas shoes, and two motorcycles. One motorcycle will be kept on running. The other motorcycle, will be stopped a little away, and I'll jump into the compound wall and bring the girl out. So it was a suicidal mission. I was too headstrong, too foolhardy. So finally I went and brought the girl out, and I drove her in the army jeep to Cochin. I didn't go, I sent, because I knew that I would be the suspect. My friends took her to Cochin and sent her off to Bangalore. Next day morning, there was a superintendent of police in the army campus saying that, no, we heard that the girl is in your room. I said, no, it's not there. And anyway, to cut the story short, it became a big scandal there. And the brigadier, Narahari, he called me and said, have you done it? I said, yes. He said, give me the address. So I said, look, it will be terrible for me to do it. He said, no, Captain, you should do it. You've done a wrong thing. So I gave the address. And the parents asked me to speak to the girl and asked her to come back. So I could have been court-martialed, but what General Narahari did was, he said that, I'm sparing you because you're an officer of integrity. So that taught me. And then he said, he didn't give me a warning. He didn't give me a written warning. He said, you know, I'm just sparing you so that you learn a lesson. You know, that showed me that, you know, generosity in dealing with your juniors is very, very important sometimes. Because when earlier I had punished I was an independent commanding officer of that unit. I had this summary court-martial pass. So I punished one Havaldar who was a quartermaster for the place and who had stolen some sugar. So I punished him very severely and demoted him. So I felt, you know, very bad that you know, when you are commanding, you know, you should be not just rules bound and be generous. Anyway, I think I strayed a bit, and I finally I went to the commander and said, look, I would like to resign from the army. And he said, look, yes, I see that your heart is not there, so it's better you leave and make something out of your life. And so he helped me actually to leave the army after 8 years of service, which is almost impossible. And so I came back straight to my village because I felt I must do some farming. And like all farmers, I got into debt. I got out of debt, but you know, I kept at it. So I think the one secret of I think successful life, I should say, is that you should, you know, listen to your heart. You know, to all of us, there is a flash of light which, you know, comes, you know, often, you know, we hear something in our soul, in our heart, and there's a flash of light. There's a magnetic north which points only to you, and then you have to have that courage to listen to that inner prompting, what is called as spontaneity or instinct or intuition, as against tuition. The tuition is important, but you know, you have to fall back on your intuition as to what your heart is telling, and have the courage to follow your heart. And I still remember, you know, Matthias' ringing words would say, you know, follow your gut, follow your convictions. I mean, this is the mantra that he would always talk to us, and that's what I did. I felt I must get into farming, and I got into farming, and this kind of you know, an optimism, a blind optimism, got me into trouble, but also got me out of trouble, because when you do not you know, have too much of caution and too much of analysis, what they say, you know, paralysis by analysis and death by sudden instinct. So there is always this you know, dichotomy. That means you have to analyze anything before you start. Then there is a point beyond which analysis cannot go, and then you take that call based on your inner prompting and follow your heart. So I was into farming for about 10 years. I was living in a tent there, and during that period, because you know, I was literally living hand to mouth, I left with 6,300 rupees from the army. My salary when I left was about 1,300 rupees. I'd put in 8 years of service, and I got gratuity and no pension, and that was about 6,700 rupees. With that money, I came and took to farming, and you know, I did not doubt that with 3 years in Sainik school, 4 years in NDA and IMA, 8 years in the army, I did not doubt my ability to make a living. I said, with this kind of, you know, after having gone through the army and the war and the NDA and all that ragging there and the Sainik school, I said, how can I fail in life? How can I not make a living if I want to be in agriculture? How can I fail? So I went and saw that land, which are lands given because of submersion of my land, our ancestral lands in Gorur. These are barren lands, totally unreclaimed. It was 5 kilometers from the main road. So I had a motorcycle, I had an old army rifle, I had a Harijan boy with me. I went to Bangalore, picked up a second-hand army tent in a Gurjari from an army store. Then I bought a Doberman dog, and one day I went and pitched my tent. And for next 10 years, I stayed there. And, as I said, I went through hell. But as someone said, the gates to heaven are through hell all the time. There's no getting away from it. If you want to go to heaven through hard work, the gates are through hell. You have to go through hell to only make you stronger. So, but I did not give up. I never once, entertained a doubt in my mind I might fail. And this, kept me going. So I think persistence, any amount of talent, there are any number of talented people who are of no use. They have become derelicts. Along with talent, and whatever talent, when I say talent, everybody has some talent. Everybody has some gift. And if you believe in yourself, persistence is key to achieving your dreams. And then whatever the dream may be, and as Walt Disney said, if you can dream it, you can do it. And it is true all the time. You can talk to anybody who has achieved anything. They will say this. I dreamt of this, and I pursued it, and I achieved it. And there is a famous story. It is the apocryphal story, a legend that when Columbus, it is alleged that Columbus is an Italian, but when he wanted to sail the high seas and discover India, he asked for funds from the Italian kings, and they would not give it. So he went to Spain, and the Spanish kings wanted to listen to his ideas. And what Columbus said was, when he stood at the end of Spain and looked at the ocean, he said, if the earth is flat, it was before the time of Copernicus and Galileo, if the earth is flat, and if there's sea in front of me, it cannot balance. There has to be land on the other side of the sea. There has to be land on the other side of the oceans, because I'm standing on land. There's water in front of me. There has to be land. So he said, I want to discover that land, and he believed it was India. And his own kings, did not give him money, and these Spanish kings, gave him the funds. I think the Spanish kings were the first venture capitalists, if you can call it that. And so he went, instead of discovering India, he discovered, America, and he sailed back. And because of Columbus's success in 15th century, Spain became the biggest, power on the earth. The Spanish Armada was the most formidable armada because of the ability of Columbus to go to America and return with a lot of gold. So as I said, you need to take that leap into the unknown, because Tagore said in a different sense that a mind all logic is like a knife all blade. A mind all logic is like a knife all blade. So if you are completely analytical, then it's like the knife without any handle, because it will bleed the hand that uses it. So you have to recognize at what point you have to fall back on your intuition. And so I stuck to my farm for 10 years. And just to tell an interesting story there, because I was not able to, make both ends meet, literally and metaphorically, I was thinking of doing various other things to become self-sufficient. So I had a bullet motorcycle. So one day when I was into Hassan, at about 8 o'clock, it was raining, and my motorcycle was giving some trouble. And I went there to get it repaired. And the neighbor said that this motorcycle, Enfield motorcycle, is shut, and he's gone back to his village. And Hassan was the regional headquarters between Coorg, Hassan, and Chikmagalur. And as I sat there, I realized, do I go back to my farm, which was already 8 o'clock, and I may get stuck? But an idea came to me. If there's no dealership in Hassan, you need another dealer. And I said, why can't I set up a dealership? And so there was another friend of mine who had a farm next to Hassan, Ravi Khandige. And so I went to his place for the night and I said, look, this is my idea. Why don't we set up a motorcycle dealership for Hassan, Chikmagalur and Kurg? And so instead of going to Hassan that day to my farm, we took a night bus and went to Madras because that was the headquarters. I walked into the Madras headquarters along with my friend who knew somebody. They said, Captain, you're not an entrepreneur. Mostly people who are, Marwadis, the Sethjis, the Chettiars, they're the ones who take these banyas. They're the ones the business community takes this dealership. I said, you're not an entrepreneur. And I said, look, I'm not an entrepreneur, but I know what a customer wants, and I've been a customer of yours for the last 3 years. But you are doing a very bad job of taking care of customers. You don't have a dealer in Hassan, so I'm asking you to make me a dealer in Hassan. And he did not even know, as a general manager, that I didn't have a dealership present in Hassan because he had left about a week ago. So he said, you give me the dealership. And so he said, what about your funds? I said, I have some funds and I'm sure, I'll mobilize it. So on the spot, he gave me a dealership. So I came back and I set up a dealership in partnership with my friend. And I think it's, and I had, of course, eventually had a Bullet motorcycle dealership, then the Honda scooter dealership, and a Luna moped dealership. We had about 7-8 branches. I had a branch in Chikmagalur, Kadur, various places. And it was not rich, but it was quite it took care of my this one. So the point I'm making here is that it is true today, it is true yesterday, it will be true tomorrow. Your energy and your passion and your commitment and your dreams are more important than capital. Capital will find you. Capital will always find you if you are dedicated and if you have a great idea. All great business is a great idea and great people around you. And when I was handling this motorcycle dealership one day, I just want to tell this interesting incident. There used to be one, Sakleshpur Nagraj was a big gunda. He had a lot of murders to his credit. And he came one day and he sat on the motorcycle and started it. And he said, I'm going to send the money back to you. I said, no, you are not leaving this place without paying the money. And so he was surprised because, even though they were rowdies, they had their own set of honor code. They would not cheat you. They would pay you probably 1,000 rupees more. He said, I'll pay 1,000 rupees more, but you have to let me go because I'm in a hurry. I said, no. I said, you're not leaving unless you pay. So he was shocked and he said, Nim Hesrenu. I said, I'm Captain Gopinath. I'm from ex-army. And you are doing the wrong thing. I don't know who you are, but you are doing a wrong thing by doing this. So he said, okay. Then after he sat there and called someone, and somebody brought some 15,000 rupees cash and gave it to me. And a few months later, he became the president of the Hassan municipality. He was a hardcore criminal. And one day I got a call from young Gopal Hosur, who had just joined as DCP of Arsikere. And he had got a tip off and that Nagraj is in Hassan and hiding somewhere. So he came and met me. We were in touch. I did not know him much in school, but we became very dear friends then, and we continue to be close to each other. One man who has been as steady, not carried away by either bad things in life or good things in life, praise and fame and nothing, affects him. He's been helpful for everybody. So I must thank him here on behalf of everybody. I don't think anybody denies that. So he came and said, so I knew quite a few people there. And I said, look, you're tipped off the guy. So somebody in the police force has tipped him off. So it'll be impossible to catch him. So that's how Gopal, and I became, friends. And then he came to my farm where I was living in a tent. And and another interesting story. And one day my father called me and said, Gopi, you're in a tent, cooking yourself along with a Harijan boy. Why don't you get married? And I said, no. I said, I don't have steady income. And, he said, there's a girl whose father is a teacher, so you must marry. And so I said, no. I said, they must be thinking I'm still in the army or I'm got a plantation bungalow. Then he said, do you think poor people cannot marry in that case? Then how do poor people marry? If you say you're poor and you do not want to marry, then please. So poverty cannot be a barrier to marriage. So he left that word with me, and that stuck with me. Dara Bendre, in one place, one of the most beautiful lines in his poem, he says, Nanu Badava, Avalu Badavi, Volave Namma Baduku. Nanu Badava, Avalu Badavi, Volave Namma Baduku. I'm a poor man, she's a poor girl, and love is our life. So my father said that, and then I said, okay. And so I told her to come to my farm, and I met her in Gorur first. She said, no, I would not like to come. I said, no, I'm living in a tent, you must come. So I sent my neighbor, Mr. Manjegoda, he's no more. He gave his bullock cart, because I was in a motorcycle. It was a rutted road. There were no cars there. And so she came in a bullock cart to see me. And as she approached my farm place, we could hear the bullock cart coming with the bells ringing, chiming. And Mr. Manjegoda suddenly, shot up and said, oh, Munde Magne, you have not put the kadane into the kadane hakila, the bullock cart, the old bullock carts, not the tire bullock carts. You have a pin, which you wheel pin, which you put into the bullock cart. So I don't know how the 5 kilometers the bullock cart came. So it was, I think, auspicious, because as they say, marriages are made in heaven. Otherwise, there would have been an accident, there would have been no marriage. I just want to give these stories just to tell that, whatever I did at that time, I was immersed in whatever I was doing. There was no other universe for me. My father would say, if you want to be a carpenter, be the best carpenter in the world. If you want to be a cobbler, be the best cobbler in the world. And who is the best cobbler in the world today? Nike. And who is the best carpenter? Is the IKEA. So so whichever small thing I started, like Confucius said, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. So you have to be totally so immersed in your idea that your idea must become you, and you must become the idea in a Vedantic way. There cannot be a duality. You must be possessed to the point of madness. And that's how I was, and I was determined. And along the way, sometimes because of my, madness, some of my relationships suffered. Maybe I was not a good father, not a good husband. But I always try to make amends after that. And I also had my good friend Harsha Gankar. We were partners together for a few years. Then, as we wanted to both have our own ambitions, we went our separate ways. I'm grateful because many of my successes were because of many people were tolerant to my own shortcomings. And ultimately, after about 10 years, I decided I must come to Bangalore, because I had to put my daughter, who was in school, in the village school there. I thought I'll bring her and give her some education in Bangalore. And as I was playing squash and tennis in the RSI Army Club, I met an old Army buddy of mine, Captain Samuel, who was a helicopter pilot. Many of you would know, an outstanding pilot. He was a Gallantry Award winner. I used to play squash and tennis with him in the Army Club, RSI Club. And one day I said, Sam, what are you doing? He was also my roommate in Devlali, School of Art Levy. I said, what are you doing, Sam? And he said, look, I'm looking for a job. I'm freelance now. Whenever I get a call, I go to ONGC and fly. but I'm looking for a job. And one day he said, look, Gopi, why don't we start a helicopter company? And he said, we can do crop spraying. And I knew, because he was totally a pilot, cocooned like I was in the army when I was, in a small well, from a enterprise point of view. I said, Sam, I think, this is not a good business, spraying pesticides. It's not a business that can grow. I think, this will not work. I had just got a Rolex award for my ecological work. And we can only do this for large plantations, which were becoming less. The world is going green. But this idea was in my mind. And I went to China with a delegation of farmers. I led a delegation of farmers. I led a delegation of silk farmers to China in 1996 or 1995, I think. Yeah, I took a delegation of farmers to China. And I stayed there for about 2 months, along with the farmers. And there, I was in a big shock, because it was in a remote taluk headquarters. There were skyscrapers there, 5-star hotels, and on the bedside table there was a pamphlet which said that China has got a single window. Come and invest in China. And there were karaoke bars, there were nightclubs, and the roads were fantastic. And that 150 kilometers from that Canton to Guangdong to another place, the entire 150 kilometers on either side, there was granite cutting without an inch, supplying polished granite to Beijing and Shanghai. So I was, dumbfounded. And I said, China, which is a communist country, which has embraced capitalism, Russia has now collapsed. I said, India is, why are we in such poverty? And China was still in poverty, but the wealth that was getting generated, even in 95, it dumbfounded. I was, awestruck. And suddenly it flashed me that we had hundreds of pilots and engineers without jobs from Air Force and Army and Navy. We had a country on the way to reforms, because Nasim Rao had just opened up the reforms, and states were competing with each other and for investments. It was a new India, and there was not a single helicopter company. It suddenly occurred to me in a flash. There was not a single helicopter company in the South. There were some helicopters in Bombay, which largely belonged to the Birlas and Tatas. Even Ambanis did not venture into helicopter then. There was some helicopters in Delhi with the Thapars, totally about 40 helicopters. And I knew, because of my reading and my general knowledge and my interest in things, that even Philippines had something like about 80 helicopters. Malaysia had 50 helicopters. UK had 2,000 helicopters. America had 15,000 helicopters. Brazil had 500 helicopters. And I said, you can't fail. If India has no helicopters, and whatever helicopters were there were for the corporates, either for their own use or for political patronage. There were no helicopters for customers. So I said, I have no competition. And so when I came back to India, determined, on the way back in Singapore airport, I read a story about a Vietnamese girl who was an orphan taken to Paris by French couple after the fall of Vietnam, who had become a pilot. And the French, brought her to Vietnam for the reconstruction when the West wanted to invest in Vietnam, which was a communist country. And she said that, there is no infrastructure because the whole country was bombed. There were no bridges, there were no roads, and either side of the road, it was full of mines, landmines. And suddenly it occurred to me that our infrastructure was non-existent. We were not bombed, but we had no infrastructure. Our roads were gutted. It was impossible to go from anywhere to anywhere. And, the obstacles always, any obstacle can become an opportunity. If there's a river, the boat becomes an opportunity to cross. If there's no infrastructure, If there's no power, solar becomes an opportunity. If there's no infrastructure to go from place A to place B, I knew with these reforms, with the way Army helicopters, because I used to fly there, not as a pilot, I used to fly in the Army helicopters. Sometimes when I got an opportunity, it could land anywhere, at the drop of a hat, with a ring. So I came back, and by which time Captain Sam had got a job as an administrative officer, as a security officer. I was shocked. I said, Sam, resign your job and let's start. So one day I had a irrigation company then, which I was running along with Harsha, but we had then parted. So he divided half the space, and I divided half this Karnataka. And we had a small office, about 1,000 square feet, where about 25 people were there. And he came to my office. He said, I thought he has come for a cup of tea. I said, what have you come for? I said, I was many school people would land, but I was sometimes, impatient because I was trying to make a living, and many of them were on leave, and every day I would be caught up with these NDA batchmates, school friends. And so, you had to be focused on your job. So sometimes I appeared rude. So I told Sam, I said, look, I had to go somewhere. He said, no, he said, but I'm not going anywhere. He said, I resigned. You asked me to resign. So that hit me, that he has resigned. And we decided to start the helicopter company. I did not know how much a helicopter cost. Neither did Sam know how much a helicopter cost. So thank God we did not know how much it cost. Because if we had known that, I don't think we would have started a helicopter company. I knew in the heart of my hearts that this is something India needs, not just for VIP travel, for aerial mapping, aerial photography, medical evacuation, geological survey, tourism, and a whole host of things. And I wanted to make, helicopter travel as easy as getting a taxi. So my first two ads were, we took a helicopter to the Kaveri fishing camp. I'm just, jumping the story. And there's an ad said, if it is on the map, we'll take you there. And the second ad was, dial a chopper. You dial a chopper, we should be able to give a helicopter in 1 hour's time. And that was my idea. And it took us, 3 years between Sam and me to get our license. Then the third, Colonel Puvaya, then Colonel Vishnu Raval, all from Army Aviation, they joined me, but the initial founders were Sam and I. I had about 4-5 lakhs then. He had about 4-5 lakhs. We put that, and it would not even get you a blade of a helicopter. The 4 sets of blades will cost you something like $100,000. But what we did was we gave everything that we had, and that's what investor sees in you. That what is your skin in the game? We took the lowest salary. That's what we decided. But for first 3 years, we when we went to the Delhi, we used to stay in sometimes army messes. Some good friend would allow us to stay in the army mess. There was another good friend of ours, my schoolmate. I must, salute him now. Late Captain Ben. And so whenever I used to go to Delhi, we didn't have an office. He would get all our papers printed in his office in Nirulas. Many of them will have enjoyed his hospitality. He would order big swaths of big plates full of dinner and lunch for us, and he would never make us pay. He was the general manager of the hotel, very close to the management, and he took care of us. Many people along the way helped us. And anyway, so at the end of 3 years, what I want to tell you here, because many people say, there is corruption, there is, nepotism. You must know somebody. You must know a politician. You must know somebody who has got money. What I want to tell you is that if you pursue your dream with single-minded obsession, and if you decide not to give bribe, you will succeed, because there are always good people who will open the doors for you. Always good people there are bureaucrats who will open the doors for you. There are people in politics who will open the door for you. I'll just, I think I'm running out of time, so I can take some questions. The first time when I got the initial clearance was from the Secretary of Civil Aviation. At the end of 3 years, I was really, boiling with rage. I walked into his office and I really let him have it. I said, how can you do this? Prime Minister is making, Nasim Rao is making these speeches of entrepreneurship. You have taken 3 years to give us the license. Then he smiled and said, I don't remember, I think it was Bejul, who is now the present governor. He said, Captain, I have sent your file to the minister. So then I said, why don't you go and remind him? He said, no, if I remind him, he'll think that I think Ashok Dalwai and Gopal Hosu can relate to this. He said, he will think that I am, a party and have some vested interest in pushing your file. It's there, he knows it. So you go and meet him. So he said, let me see. And he sent my card, Captain Gopinath. So, being in the army, it always gives you access. So don't go through middlemen. If you go with a bag, looking for a middleman to help you, you will, as I say, a fool and his money are soon parted. You will part with your money. So you will be parted with your money. So this minister called, I don't mind taking the name. It was Gulab Nabi Azad, Congress minister, and we know there is huge corruption in all political parties. And so I let the minister have it. I said, I'm an ex-army officer. This is how you treat us. And he said, Captain, relax. Where is your file? He knew that my file was there. And because when a minister doesn't reject your file and he doesn't approve your file, that means he's waiting to see the promoter, the businessman, and he's expecting some money for the party, if not for himself. So he said, he called the secretary and said, where is Captain's file? So he said, have a cup of tea, relax a bit. And he cooled me down, and he did not look at the file. The moment he heard me and my passion and my commitment, he said, why didn't you come to me earlier? And he signed it. And that was just one line. The government has no objection to start an airline. So, it was just no objection. That means now I have more hurdles to go to the DGCA to get the license and the Ministry of Civil Aviation, other formalities. And within a few months, we started. And I needed land, and I came to Bangalore. HAL was charging an arm and a leg for parking my helicopter. So I knew there's a Jaipur airport. I went straight to J.H. Patel, who was the chief minister. Devagowda was the prime minister at the time. I told Mr. J.H. Patel. He was a socialist, very well known for his wit, body, humor. He would tell jokes below the belt all the time, but a very popular leader. So I went to him and I said, Mr. Patel, sir, I want to make Bangalore Singapore. We have HL here, we have BL here. Singapore, you throw a stone, it falls into the sea. Why can't we have Singapore? All the helicopter aviation headquarters is in Singapore. You walk on that road, you will see Rolls-Royce there, you see Boeing there, everything, major international headquarters is in Singapore. And not in India, not in Bangalore. Why can't we have it in Bangalore? He said, what do you want? He said, look, I'm starting a helicopter company. I want land in Jaipur. He said, how much? I said, I want an acre. So he called the secretary, Vishwanathan, IAS, and he said, Vishwanathan, before 5 o'clock today, issue a letter to captain and also tell my helicopter, which is an old junk helicopter, ground it. I'll not only use his, not only give him land, I will also use his helicopter. You can imagine how difficult it is to get land. And I got the letter by afternoon. But within a week, I got a call from Mr. Vishwanathan, and he said, Captain, there's a problem. The director of the Jaipur airport, sometimes, we blame politicians. Sometimes, our bureaucrats are worse. He put a objection saying that allowing my helicopter of Deccan will interfere with the air traffic of the school, the flying school. The Jaipur had a famous flying school. So he called me. He said, "Can you come and meet me?" He said, "Look, this is what he has done. So what do you want to say?" I said, "Look, Chicago has 3,000 flights a day. 3,000. This flying school is shut, and it does a flight once in a day, maybe twice a day. You got air traffic control for that. You control the flights and sequence it. So how can he be the director of a school when he says do not allow other helicopter companies or other small planes?" So he got an idea. See, our as I said, there are good bureaucrats. Vishwanathan didn't ask for any money, and even though Patel did not take any money, Vishwanathan didn't take any money from me. He said, "Captain, I'll solve this problem. I'll form a inquiry committee." He made Air Vice Marshal Lamba, a veteran ace pilot, as the chairman of the committee, along with another IAS person, and said, "You please, inquire into this objection of the flying school director." So within a week, Lamba, I went and met him, and he was very impressed that I was an ex-army man, and he gave a absolutely solid recommendation that Deccan should be allowed, and so we got an acre of land, and so I did not wait, and I started it with Sam and I. We started with pitching 2 tents there, and so the issue that I want to say is that whatever venture it may be, whatever dream it may be, like Einstein said, he said, "I'm not a genius. I'm infinitely more curious, and I stay with the problem longer." So you have to stay with the problem. Genius is the art of taking infinite pains. It is persisting. It is never giving up. You will definitely fall, but as Victor Hugo said, the glory of man is not in falling or failing, but to rise each time you fall. So I and my colleagues, we fell many times, but we rose each time we fell. And so Deccan, within a period of the 6 months, Deccan got
Sir,
Gopi,
there
I
is,
think you got muted.
yeah, muted. There's some problem with the mic.
We still can't hear you. Yeah, now we can hear you.
No, we can hear you, sir.
Yeah, I'm not muted. Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So please tell me when to stop. I'll stop in another 5 minutes, because since the topic you gave was my life story, so I'm getting carried away. So anyway, we had within about 6 months, because we had now the land, we had the license, I had the pilots. I had Japanese. He gave some money, and we had they were actually they were the unsung heroes, because my chartered accountant once told me, is choose your partners well, because it's more difficult to divorce your partner than divorcing your wife. So if at all Deccan was successful, and if I
So your voice is breaking, sir. Your voice is breaking.
Okay, let me just
It's better, sir. Maybe that some if you come closer, perhaps, I mean, that the microphone, there's some distance. Otherwise, it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay now. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Perfect.
Yeah, I said my charter account said, choose your partners well, because it's easier to divorce your wife than your partner, and that is a good. So whatever partners I had, some of them we had differences, we parted ways, but they were all people who are responsible for my success, because I also learned the mistakes I made with them. The mistakes of my short temper, intolerance, maybe my short-sightedness in terms of maybe I was perceived as egoistic or greedy. All those things were lessons in my venture with Deccan, where Sam and Giant, they were the unsung heroes, without whom this could not have happened. And of course, you need to have good friends all along. It could be people like Gopal Hosur or Ashok Dalwai, many people innumerable, who all set you up for success. So, the thing is that you cannot be, cynical and skeptical. I write a lot of articles where I criticize the government, but somebody said positive criticism. But there is a tendency to be cynical. Everything is bad. This country is bad. So you have to have as an entrepreneur, you have to have or as even if you're not an entrepreneur, if you want to be having a good life, you have to be having a generosity of spirit to admire the good things in life. It could be a Bhimsen Joshi, it could be a good friend, it could be somebody who has done a good turn to you, somebody who has not done good things to the country. You have to admire the good things in life, have a generosity of spirit, and have optimism. And that's how a helicopter company came to being. And 5 years down the line, I was flying in the helicopter from Goa to Bangalore with Giant Puvaya. And I said, Giant, just fly down. Let's see. There are these large things which are shining in these villages. And when I came down, I found that there were dish antennas. Suddenly, I saw a different country from above. It was no longer a country because there were dish antennas in villages where some entrepreneur has collected, 1,000 rupees from 40 houses, 40,000 rupees, and given connection for 200 rupees. And people could see, Kannada news channels and Kannada movie channels and Telugu news channels across the country for 200 rupees. It was already the cheapest in the world. And then suddenly I realized it was not a country of 1 billion hungry people to be fed and subsidized, but a country of 1 billion hungry consumers. When you go to America and ask for aid, ask for PL 480, then you are begging. But if you say, I want to buy Rolls Royce, I want to buy Boeing, I want to buy, a computer, then, then you are a buyer. Then they treat you with respect. So I realized that India has 1 billion consumers. And that's when this, moment of epiphany, when I was in, by which time I had about 15 helicopters and 4 or 5 small planes. We were the largest helicopter company. And every time people like Chandrababu Naidu and Krishna would say, why don't you start a flying service to, with a helicopter to Hubli or to Rajahmundry or to Vijayawada? And it suddenly, there was a buzz in me, and I could feel it and I could touch it, but it was not, it was not hitting me. And suddenly in that helicopter, it hit me that, these 1 billion people were buying everything but air tickets. They were buying motorcycles, they were buying second-hand cars, they were buying toothpaste. I remember in my farm when I used to go, these girls would come as laborers. I could see in their plastic bags, Fair and Lovely creams, because the consumerism had taken over the country. So I realized that even though we have caste, the politics, it is ultimately determined by one caste, the consumer caste. The consumer caste will level everything. The consumer caste, there is no Dalit there, there's no Muslim there. When I was in sericulture, the grower was a farmer of Mulberry. He is largely Gaudas and the farming community. The reeler is a Muslim. The man who reels the cocoons is a Muslim. The man who does the weaving is a Devang Shetty, is a Hindu. The man who does the wholesale is a Marwadi. So it's a whole world, that makes India such as as variegated, as fantastic as our fabric. So our social fabric, we have to look at our textile, both visually, metaphorically, and literally. Our textile, for one sari to be made, you need multiple castes, multiple religions to make that sari or a fabric. And there was a lesson to me. And I realized that with all this Swadeshi Jagran and 2 steps forward and 1 step backward, ultimately, consumer, see, you go to your hotel, you do not know who is the supplier, because I ran a hotel and nobody knows who is the cook. I ran a Udupi hotel for some time, and the boys would come from the villages who will be suppliers. They were all runaway kids. And in my motorcycle showroom, my mechanics, they were all called grease monkeys. They were all Muslims. And the boys, the Muslim would come and say, we are too poor to send to school. I'm leaving this Muslim boy in your thing. And, you teach him. We would give him some 50 rupees stipend. We said, no, don't give any money. He'll go back. We'll feed him. You just teach him the, vocation. So I had about 20 mechanics in my Malnad Babaik's showroom. So all these were lessons to me. And I realized that, that there's no doubt in me. In Kannada, there's a proverb, Angaina Hunnige Kannadi Beke. Do you need a mirror to see the abscess in your hand? The mirror is the consultant. The mirror could be the guru. If you have an idea, you don't go to Narayan Murthy or Kiran Mazumdar Shah or Steve Jobs, because you are seeing the vision. He's not seeing it, and that's the reason it said, vision is the art of seeing the invisible. It's a paradox. Vision means seeing, but vision is seeing the invisible. That is, you are seeing the future. An entrepreneur or a dreamer of any. I'm not saying just entrepreneur. Anybody who wants to become a great swimmer. You want to become a great champion like our Neeraj Chopra. So you have to see that vision. That vision is invisible, and that is the art of seeing that invisible, and that is seeing the future. And so when I was in that Phoenix airport, after getting down with that carpenter who was fully tattooed on either side in his shorts, I knew that he was he was a blue collar worker. I got down in the Phoenix airport. I saw a board there, new airport. Phoenix is back of beyond, deep in New Mexico. And it said, I was on the way to visit a friend of mine who used to run a helicopter company there in Grand Canyon. The board said, we have 1,000 flights a day and 1 lakh passengers. And I knew that I knew that, I don't need to go to McKinsey. I don't need to go to McKinsey to find out if I need to run an airline, because India had only, in those days, 400 flights a day, 40 airports, 400 flights a day. And this one airport, not Chicago, 3,000 flights, not Atlanta, 3,000 flights. Phoenix, rural town, had 1,000 flights a day. So I didn't need to go to anybody to ask, should I start a low-cost airline? The question was how. So when I said initially, follow on your intuition, I did not mean don't consult experts. Of course, the decision to start an airline was mine, falling on my instinct. But I hired the best people. I had the chief engineer from British Airways as my head of engineering. I had a chief operating officer from Ryanair, from Europe, the largest airline, as my head of operations. I had the best revenue management people who was a PhD from Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore. So you take the best. Like, when Steve Jobs started these computers, IBM said, who's going to buy a laptop? So, you don't go to a guru to ask, what you're seeing, because every idea, when it is started, it is a crazy idea. And it only becomes simple after someone starts it. So my only thing was, how do I do it using the Indian genius, the Indian mud? So everything was local in that sense. And we started with, 5 aircrafts. And even then, second time, I did not know where is the money going to come from. But I knew more than ever then than the first time that money will come if you have an idea and if you are committed to it. And we got private equity in a very big way from many people. And we raised about 1,000 crores even before Malia came into the and invested in the company. And later, the thing was that we succeeded because of not just the dream, that was just the beginning, but as I said, but it is because of the team. You need to ensure that everybody down the line is, infected with the same enthusiasm. Your enthusiasm must get by symbiosis, must get go down the line. So difficulties, as someone said, add brains. More the difficulty, more the brains. Greater the willpower, you get new eyes. And as Hannibal said, if there is no way, many of you from the army here will recognize this quotation. If there's no way, make one. If there is no way, create a path, find a path. So every time you will have a blockade. But if you try to clear the path, if you try to find a path, somebody else will help along the way. And again, the next time for the airline, for the helicopter company, license was given by Ghulam Nabi Azad from Congress. And for the helicopter company inauguration by license, Devegowda was the prime minister, and Ibrahim was the, there were a lot of corruption. But you don't say BJP is corrupt, Janata Party is corrupt. You say, I will go and do my best, and somebody will open the door for you. And the third time, it was the BJP in power, and Rudy was the civil aviation minister. Venkaiah Naidu, the present vice president, was the BJP vice president. I went and met them. And on my inaugural flight, I had a fire. Chandrababu Naidu was there, Venkaiah Naidu was there, Rajiv Pratap Rudy was there. I was inside, all the TV was watching, and there was a fire. And the first question that television asked, because Jet Airways was trying to stop me in the parliament by taking MPs, saying that captain must not be allowed, Gopi's air Deccan must not be allowed because it's low cost, it's unsafe. It will destabilize the existing players. And Venkaiah Naidu told the civil aviation minister in front of me, make sure air Deccan flies, otherwise India's aviation will be in gloom, in darkness. And the journalist asked, what happens? Are you going to continue to give him a license? And Rudy said, yes, we want him to succeed. Air Deccan is India's hopes. But for me, I was worried because there was a fire. And so before the press, I went and talked to the chief pilot. My chief pilot was one of the most celebrated pilots of India, Captain Kotial, who was the test pilot who did a test pilot flying training school in USA. In the test pilot school where Neil Armstrong had done. And he had joined me as a chief pilot. He did the maiden test flight for the Tejas, light combat aircraft. I asked him, is there a safety issue? He said, no, sir. It was just some fuel, leftover fuel outside. It would have got doused anyway. I'm going to fly right now. He said, if you're going to fly, then can I go and make a commitment that we are not going to stop? He said, yes. You can go ahead because I'm going to fly and you can come with me. So I told the press and the minister that you don't fly, I'll fly, and the commercial flight will be there from tomorrow. He who walks stumbles. And I got a message from across the country. Yes, Captain, having fire on your flight is Agni. It's a good omen. Please don't stop. And next day, I was thinking, my flight will be empty. We had 100% occupancy on the Bangalore, Hyderabad, and Hyderabad, Vijayawada flight. So what I would like to say is courage and optimism, and we'll solve all problems. Fortune favors the brave, as Virgil said, or as Sanskrit it says, Dhairyam Sarvatra Sadhanam. And continued enthusiasm. Is the wisdom of all life. Continued enthusiasm, regardless, whatever be the circumstance. Continued enthusiasm is the wisdom of all life. And Kuvempu, in his own way, in his poem, in one line, he says, Jadave illa, Jadave illa, Chaitanyave illa. So your energy, your enthusiasm, your passion will always win you the day. And in the end, I would like to say there is no security in the world, because anybody who wants certainty, anybody who wants safety, you cannot embark on any new venture or any new idea. It could be a scientist, it could be an entrepreneur, it could be a swimmer wanting to take gold medal. So you need to have that inextinguishable optimism, indefatigable energy, and this persistence. Hata ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಹುಚ್ಚು ಹಠ ಇರಬೇಕು. Then you will reach your goal. And India, let me tell you, is a magazine of plenty. Even today, only 5% of India is traveling. In any sector you take, whatever we may not have, we have a market. And that is a inexhaustible market. Like if I say my vision was to make every Indian fly, that means that is a vision that you cannot achieve in 2 years or 5 years. If you say, I want 100 aircrafts, you can achieve it. If you want to become the largest airline, I can achieve it. But if I say, I must have every Indian to fly, that is my logo, every Indian must fly. And that's the reason, when I met R.K. Lakshman, he said, 1,000 rupees is also too costly. And then I gave a 1 rupee ticket. The 1 rupee ticket was just to trigger an implosion in society, was to trigger implosion in society. To do an entrepreneur has to be not only launching a new product, he must be in the forefront of changing the mindset of the people, on a tectonic scale. And how do I do that? So I said, give. In any case, no flight is 100% empty. If you remember, in the 2002, every flight was 12,500 rupees, Jet Airways and Indian Airlines. And it was only 50% occupancy. They were not growing. So if I give, in a year, 1,100,000 tickets at 1 rupee and 100,000 tickets at 500, they're all empty seats. And that is additional revenue, into the kitty. But what it does, it made, the poorest of the poor. I remember, a barber association from Hyderabad, wrote to me saying that they had pooled money and taken a flight, because they took a flight to Bombay not to stay there. They took a flight to Bombay to experience the flight. They couldn't, because they couldn't go and stay in Bombay. They didn't have that kind of money, but they wanted to experience that flight. And I'll just end the story now. The reason I showed that film to you was I came from a similar school, and one day when I was on a flight, because I used to serve the passengers, we used to sell everything, I would talk to the passengers, and there was one lady in a flight from Delhi to Bangalore. I could make out from her dress and from her speech that she was from the village, and a big lady, but not shy. And she, when the plane landed, and she said, "Captain Saab," she shouted loudly, and everybody, looked at me. And he said that, "Captain Saab, because the pilot's door was open, and she could see a small, tiny pilot, puny pilot in the front with 180 passengers, big Airbus." He said, "ये pilot ने जो है हनुमान जैसे हनुमान ने जो ये संजीवनी बूटी ले आया ऐसे." She kept on showing her hand. She हनुमान जैसे वो हमको ले आया. हम बहुत धन्यवाद है. So I said, "Where are you from?" She said she was from somewhere small village near Ayodhya, and somebody from Infosys, where her son was in Infosys, he sent a ticket to her and her father, to his father, for 500 rupees, and that's how he came. So I could get all this sense, from these kind of things, and then I told this film director to make a film where I wanted to break not only the cost barrier, but I wanted to break the caste barrier, so that today if you're a rich farmer deep in North Karnataka, you will not go to Oberoi's, even if you have money. So I had to break the cost barrier and caste barrier. So I should tell my air hostesses, don't be sophisticated, make them feel comfortable, don't look down upon them when they come from the villages. There was a fantastic Aki Lakshman cartoon, which was seeing these new low-cost airlines and air Deccan at that time. There was a villager sitting in the seat with his peta and his bedding on the top with a rail chombu, with a tumbler. In those days when the rail used to take, we did not have water bottles of plastic. And in the center there was a man in a suit, and in the window there was the common man. And the man in the suit is telling, if these low-cost airlines, bring down the fare any further, then I'll start traveling by train. Because, he was feeling snobbish that, he's now sitting with villagers. So all these things, informed me, and I told the ad guy to make this film in a manner which tells a story to get more people to dream and to fly. So with these few words, I think I have overstepped my time by very, very many minutes. So please forgive me. I would like to pay my respects to Mr. G.D. Kale, one of the great teachers of this country, and to all my colleagues. I also want to pay homage to Somana Gowder, who was my roommate in Sainik School. I'd gone to his daughter's wedding. And so there are many who have been, good to me, who I consulted, including Mane Shinde, Ashok Dalwai, Gopal Hosur. Any number of times I can name his name. And to each one of you, very, very proud. And the school resonates with me. And sometimes I may not have answered many of you, but on a private, in the group, I'm not in the group. I'm in the group, but I don't respond to the group. But many of you have individually spoken to me, and I've responded as much as I can. So I'm really grateful to all of you, and thank you. And this is an extraordinarily great initiative. And Ashok has already demonstrated it, Gopal in the backing, that you have to dare to dream and begin it. And the start is half the deed. Yeah, the start is a Latin proverb. The start is half the deed. So well begun is half done. So wish you all the best.
So what an inspirational and outstanding inaugural lecture, sir. We're extremely grateful. What I could see from, because I had put my mobile also on to see what's happening in YouTube, because I think we could only allow about 100 people here. There is a student whose roll number is 5842. That means he's perhaps must be in the class 7 or class 8. And there are still people who are asking questions whose number is in 2 digits to 5842. The last one, what I could see. Every single one of them has taken a lesson. And it's everyone was definitely infected with the positivity to tread a path uncharted, which is what the Sainik School is all about. Trying to tread a path uncharted, indefatigable. I think we have maybe a couple of questions we can take. We have in the back end Dinesh Badgandi and Jagdish. Maybe a couple of questions only, because we have already run out of time. A couple of questions can be taken, please, for Gopinath sir. Jagdish and Dinesh.
Yeah. Sir, what a daredevil. Sir, we are getting goosebumps daily. Great. I think this is the best lecture to have for the AKF inauguration. I have the first question coming out from Mohan Nadgoda, roll number 325 Hostel House, 1976 pass out. He's also son of ex-minister PM Nadgoda. He's asking, can we Ajit's, pulling in all the resources, can we get into aviation industry now under your leadership again?
Yeah, of course. As I said, actually, this is the right time to get into aviation, because just today morning, I was giving an interview to somebody, Because this is why I'm saying this is one of the best times to start an airline or many other ventures, is that especially airline. Airline is a very capital intensive industry, but as I said, money will pour in. If you have, if you look at Zomato, I wrote an article saying that, money doesn't grow on trees, but money grows on Zomato. It doesn't grow on tomato, but it grows on Zomato. Valued at 60,000 crores. All that he's doing is carrying the food manufactured by others. He's not even manufacturing one pakoda. So if you have ideas, money will come, whether it's for a restaurant business or an aviation business. Today, why I'm saying it's the best time to start, because first, even today, as I speak, only 250 million tickets are sold, not 250 million people. That is about 40 million, what they call as bumps and seats. Only about 40 million different individuals are sitting in an aircraft today. That is less than 5% of India's population. 95% are still not accessing air travel today as I speak. So, you have to look at the 95%, because when I started Air Deccan, less than 1% was traveling by air. They asked me, where is the market? I said, I'm looking at the 99 who are not traveling, and you're looking at the 1 which is traveling. So today you have to look at the 95%. It is an ocean. It is like putting a pump into the ocean. You're only limited by the capacity of the pump to lift the water. So you're only limited by your dreams, the capacity to dream. Second, today, because of the lockdown around the world, hundreds of aircrafts are available cheap. And hundreds and thousands of pilots are without jobs. Even the first time when I started Air Deccan, there were people who were pilots who had become restaurant managers for 5 years, 6 years, who had joined Air Deccan because pilot shortage was there. They were taking anybody and everybody. When there's a pilot shortage, you take anybody who has a license. When there is too much of plenty, Indigo will do a analysis, psychoanalysis, all kinds of analysis and reject it. But when there is a shortage, you take anybody. Like in the war, anybody who can be mobilized into war will be mobilized. So similarly, there's a huge surplus of pilots now. So engineers and pilots, easy to get them. And all the airports are huge. So there's no parking shortage. When I started Air Deccan, I did not get parking. So I paid 2 crores to HAL to build my own parking as a deposit. They said, we don't have money because it will take years to get so they showed the land and we paid 2 crores and built one parking lot for the Airbus with a runway access. So those problems are not there. You got 2 airports in Bombay. Hopefully there should be one more airport in Bangalore. 2 are in Delhi going to come up. There's a second one in Goa which is coming up. So there is a huge resource available. So talent is there, manpower is there, a lot of goods and equipment are there, and so you'll be welcome. And also today, though there may be some corruption, which I'm not hiding in the lower levels, at the level of, when I say, very clerical levels, other day I sent someone to get a death certificate of my father. They asked for some 1,000 rupees. So sometimes you pay it. You're not going to but you don't have to go take 1 crore and pay to the minister. I never paid even when there was corruption, but now as all of us know that there is no corruption at the top. There could be other kind of criticism against the ruling party, but that corruption at that level is not there, right? So it's easier to start, provided, but of course, you always have to push. And there'll always be somebody, I believe that, hard work, will make you luckier. The more you work, that's how I'm superstitious. And hard work will also, and dedication will also open doors, like Gajendra Moksha or Draupadi, right? Somebody gives a sari, to that woman in distress. And that kind of optimism is required. And but there's also the challenge. The challenge is that, one more advantage is that all the existing airlines, they're in, bigger the airline, bigger the stress. They're in huge loss because in the airline, I used to say, my checks fly faster than the airline aircrafts, because there's such a huge cash drain. So therefore, the existing airlines, they're under a huge loss, but because 5,000 crores lost last year in Indigo. This quarter today, result came out of SpiceJet. They lost 789 crores in 3 months. So they will not be able to attack you by putting low fares and get you out of business. So the existing competition, Vistara, Tata's are under huge loss. So none of them will compete against you to put you out of business. So these are the advantages. But the challenge is that, there is a lot of uncertainty in COVID. There could be another lockdown. There could be one lockdown in Maharashtra, but no lockdown in Karnataka. So all these will impact. And also there is a general reluctance to travel, because of the ease of technology, which is like what we are doing now. I was telling Ashok Dalwai the other day that there is a thing called Clubhouse, which allows 8,000 people. I just gave a talk recently. It allows 8,000 people to enter and exit quietly like an assembly hall. It's a new WhatsApp group. So technology has, because of this ease of technology, many people are not traveling. So this is the right time to start an airline. And these, resources, when you have got less resources, motivation is always high. Believe me this. With your own children, you give too much resources in your own company. C.K. Prahalad, my good friend, used to say, low resources, high aspirations.
Sir, we are losing your voice, sir. Yeah. No. So we are unable to hear you. No, sir.
Not able to listen, sir.
Sir, we are unable to hear you, sir.
There seems to be some problem in the mic.
Yeah, it's come back now.
Yeah.
I don't.
So,
Can you hear
thank
me
you,
now?
sir.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We can hear you.
Last sentence I said
So-
was that low resources and high aspirations. Low resources creates high aspiration with your children, with your company. And high resources generally creates low aspirations. So it's good to have lack of resources.
Thank you, sir. So, Mohan Nadagoda, sir, there is a way from BTDA to aviation.
Some more few questions from juniors.
Yeah.
Sir,
Nadgoda can contact me separately.
yeah.
Sure, sir. So there is one question on a lighter note from Jagdish Nandi, roll number 566, Vadya House. Whenever you came out with the new business idea, which was difficult to convincing the investor or convincing your better half?
No, my wife, I think I also written my book. I think she was very, very stoic. She was from a village. When I say village, small town, and it was because I always took a decision. Then I informed her, because I knew that if I go and tell her should I do it, the general tendency will be not to do it, or because if she is not knowledgeable about the. What I did was I realized that women must be empowered.
Sir, again, we're not able to hear.
Again, I think this is gone. One second.
Now it's okay, sir.
It's
I think
again
so.
okay.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay, sir.
I think the Wi-Fi going off. Sorry. Yeah. So what I'm saying is that I set up a bakery for her, and I told her, why don't you run it? And immediately after setting up a bakery, I started the helicopter company. So she found her own dream, and without being subservient to my dream, she stood back, because she took care of the family, she took care of the children, and it's very important for husbands to encourage their wives to stand on their own legs, and encourage them and back them to become entrepreneurs, because your marriage, sometimes, marriages can go on the rocks, but your marriage will be more stable. You will be doing a great service to your children, to encourage your wife to stand on her own legs. So she was a model in that sense that she, backed my dream without, being subservient to my dream or without losing her own dream. And but my own that madness, obviously has had an impact. I could have been a better husband and a better father and a better friend to many. Yeah.
Maybe one or two more questions because it's already now 8:30.
I have one question from Dr. Dalwai sir, Ashok Dalwai sir.
Yeah, sure.
So he had looked at one of the cartoons actually in the newspaper. In fact, I had also looked at it, which showed R.K. Lakshman as you, as a common man, and side of a manicured and plasticured Vijay Malla side by, and you're always seen as they have plain looking kind of crumpled short sleeves kind of a dressing. But how did you come across such kind of a persona after coming out from SSBJ, NDA, and IMA kind of organization?
I what I felt was that one was because I was starting a low-cost airline. I also wanted to give that image, but more than that, I also felt that sincerely that the simpler dress you have, you're more comfortable, right? So in summer, it was stupid to wear a suit and go to the civil aviation ministry or any other ministry. And even in France, if there was an evening dinner, I would wear a kurta pajama, or I would wear jeans and cotton shirt, or a cotton pant and a cotton bush shirt. So whether it's a king or commoner, whomever I went to meet, I always went in a linen cotton shirt or a plain cotton hustle shirt, and that also gave me a very easy access in the ministry, because they couldn't also make out initially whether I was a minister or an MLA or an MP. Of course, much later, when I became much known, everybody could recognize me. And but traveling in my airline, because it is a low-cost airline, I initially in the helicopter days, I used to wear a tie and a suit, because I had General Narhari as my chairman and Air Vice Marshal as my vice chairman of the company. So sometimes when I would accompany them, because they would be in a tie, I would wear a tie. But later on, I changed, to my normal simple dress. That was easier. And also in the airline, it gave the right message to my employees that I'm not living in 5-star hotels. I stayed in guest houses, though I could have lived in any kind of 5-star hotel when I was running the airline. I never did that. I traveled economy class, and that was important to live that. Live that. Not that because I wanted to show off. It's important as a leader that you send the right kind of message. And
Thank you, sir. I have one last question. Later, Jagdish, you can have a few more.
I'm free. Anybody wants to ask me?
Sir, actually, this is my question. Actually, you were in dairy, you were in agriculture, automobile, then aviation. So many ideas, so many businesses. When do you think an entrepreneur should take a quit?
I think, you should, as I said, you must always, like, for example, in AKF, when, we had become very big, we had become very large. And suddenly about 5 new airlines started coming. There was cutthroat competition, and oil price, which was $20, went to $157. When I started the airline, it was about $21. It went to nearly $150. And suddenly the price point of India was not low. The price point of the purchase price point was not enough to buy an airline ticket when the oil prices went up, and too many aircraft. Suddenly in 1 year, 5 airlines came: Vijay Mallya's Airlines, SpiceJet, Indigo, Premier Air, Go Air, and all that. So we were losing money, but we were not. We were having a positive cash flow. We had huge cash flow. We had reached 2,500 crores revenue in the third year, and we had always positive cash flow, but we were making losses. And I had private equity investors, and I was a minority shareholder because, like in Narayan Murthy's case, a minority shareholder. He was about, I think, 5%, 6%. But they don't dislodge you. If the company depends on the entrepreneur, the private equity doesn't dislodge you. But in our case, airlines were going bankrupt around the world, and India was in a difficult situation. Oil prices had gone up. There was a financial crisis. Therefore, many of my investors put a pressure on me, saying, "Captain, there is huge inquiries from big industrialists like Ambani and Vijay Mallya was approaching me many times."
Sir, again, we are not able to hear this.
So again, okay.
No.
1 second.
It's fine, sir. It's fine, sir.
Fine now?
Yes, sir. It's fine, sir.
So he was putting pressure on me, all kinds of pressure, political pressure, to sell the airline to him or make him a partner. I said, no. I said, you are a man from the Mars, and I'm from the. I said, I'm from Mars and you are from Venus, or something. I told him, we are two different kind of people, and therefore, we did not do it. But finally, when I realized that, I could pull it off. Maybe I should have stuck my my own convictions. But then, somewhere inside me, the one shareholder once, asked me in a shareholder meeting, when am I going to make money on my shares? A lot of people had put money. And I felt that suppose the airline goes bankrupt, then a lot of people will lose money, including me. Therefore, I felt, when my investor said, "Captain, we have put a lot of money, depending on you. Now, don't let your ego to come to control the airline. Let us, merge the airline." That's how I merged. But unfortunately, the merger did not go well. So when Kingfisher died, Air died. But I think the dream lives on. So I have to be happy that the dream of low-cost airline lives on. Could you hear me?
Jagdish, yes, sir. Jagdish, maybe a couple of, I think Gopal Hussain sir also has asked an interesting
Yeah,
question.
yes, sir. That's true, sir.
What is it?
Sir, yeah.
Yeah, Gopal.
Sir, Gopal sir wants to know.
I think I'll ask the question myself.
Please, sir.
Okay, sir.
Sir, I have followed your journey right through from, of course, initially in the school and later on from 1982 till yesterday evening when we spoke. A very extremely exciting, interesting, challenging. Every time speaking to you fills me with a lot of pride and knowledge, and the energy levels that you display in when you speak. So my question today is, you forayed into politics for a while. You are quite ambitious into politics. Do you still nurse some ambitions to get back into electoral politics?
Now, this time my wife might divorce me. I think people who have not read my book may not know, but I was the president of BJP Hassan for about almost 4 years, and I remember those days, Anant Kumar and Yediyurappa used to come by bus. They have stayed in my house also. Anant Kumar and I, they stayed in my house. Vajpayee came, I was the president of BJP Hassan. He came to my house and we gave him a dinner. Then in those days, BJP was zero. There was nobody in Hassan other than Devagowda and Shrikantaya, which Gopal Hussain has good experience of. Everybody was scared to join BJP because there was a lot of violence in Hassan. Every week, there there was some murder or somebody's leg is cut off, or those kind of things. The fights between Devagowda and Shrikantaya, and I think even Gopal got involved once, and there was a firing. He fired. He was on the spot in that place, and he fired, and he got into trouble almost, but he stood his ground. So I took part, and then I lost the elections. But something, normally you go into depression when you lose an election, because losing election, you get so much carried away. But something happened, when I went through these 5 years of politics. It gave me a lot of insight into India, a lot of connections to BJP people. All of them lost. BJP did not come back to power for many, many years. Of course, if I had stuck on, it's not difficult to, if you are intelligent and if you're dedicated and if you persist, definitely you have an advantage over the people, because most people in politics are uneducated people, if you see. But they're smarter than you in a different level, because they come from the grassroots, they've gone through hell, and but like Churchill said, he said, if you're going through hell, keep going. That's the only advice. If you're going through hell, keep going. So in politics, you have to keep going. And I had to take a call that time, whether I should continue in politics. I knew that if I continued one more term, 2 more terms, I would definitely, become an MLA or MP or a minister or whatever stars had in store for me. But, you don't depend on your stars. Like Shakespeare said, men at sometimes are, masters of their fate. You have to be, you have to be a master of your fate. I used to say, you have to write your own horoscope. You're a master of your fate, Shakespeare said. The fault, he said, dear Brutus, is not, the fault, dear Brutus, is in ourselves and not in our stars. The fault is in ourselves that we are underlings. So you have to have that confidence. So I many times, when I look at, when I write my articles, when I look at this politics here, I feel, I must come back into politics. But, on that day I decided, I should not get into politics because my finances were very, very thin. And I also realized that I will have to dip into the, more likely transform than transforming society at that time, in the kind of situation I was in. I said I must make money and then enter politics, because then I was a poor, struggling farmer. So after 5 years, after loss, I got this, I don't know where I got this fount of energy and optimism and courage. I decided to become an entrepreneur. I started the airline. Right after that, right after losing the elections, I started the airline. And then much later, after the airline success, I contested again as an independent. I thought I'll not join, but then some incidents, impelled me to join politics. That time I could have easily got a ticket from BJP. Yediyurappa called me and said, we'll give it to you. Please don't contest against Anant Kumar. I'm being blamed for putting you up against Anant Kumar because there's a rivalry between Yediyurappa and Anant Kumar. And Venkaiah Naidu called me and said, Captain, are you contesting because of Anant Kumar? You please contest from somewhere else. But at that time I decided I must contest as an independent, basically to inspire the youth. And, a politician is like a snail without a shell. You need a political party. Very difficult to win as an independent. Sometimes you win as luck. Shivaram Karanth lost. Bertrand Russell lost. Many eminent AP Venkateshwaran lost. So many times, if you're not in that wave, and unless you are politically such a strong fellow, already in politics, a rebel, difficult to win. Or you must have done a lot of, work of cooperative work like some of our schoolmates have done now. So third time again, I joined AAP, Aam Aadmi Party. They invited me, somebody invited me because they were recruiting a lot of people, ambassadors. A lot of people joined them, ambassadors, ex-police officers, army generals, General Gul Panak's father, General Panak, a lot of them joined. And I also joined. But then because of his dictatorial things, we fell out because of my articles where I criticized the Aam Aadmi Party. And so I knew he's going to sack me. So then I resigned the Aam Aadmi Party. Now, Gopal's question, the mind says yes, the heart says no, but sometimes the heart says yes, the mind says no. But as they say never.
I think, Sir Ashok sir, should we take a couple of more questions or?
I think one or two. I think Bagalkot wanted to ask something. You know, Ajay
Yes.
was there. He wanted to ask, and
Yes.
so
Time for a
and
drink.
we, and we
You
also
can
have
unmute.
and we also have our very senior here, General Ramesh Halgli. He may like to not ask, make observations. So we're very happy to. And we have another senior, Mr. Vijay Kumar, also Colonel Vijay Kumar. So, sirs, please. I think your observations were very, very good for us.
Sure. Thank you.
Ramesh Halgali sir, you would like to?
As long as I'm not repetitive or boring, so I must also recognize.
Not at all. I think, see.
Also recognize two other people. I'm just saying, forgive me for the lapse. Ajay Sarnaik, I've never seen anybody more humble than Ajay Sarnaik. I've gone to many. If you're in business, in life, you always have some issues. I've never seen anybody. I think all of us must learn from him. When in power, out of power, he's the most endearing person, and I'm really fortunate to have people like Ajay. I think I forgot. I had one more name. I forgot. I think it will come back to me.
Sir, Bagalkot, Ajay Sarnaik is also there, and a lot of them have joined in one room, so one large room there.
Thank you.
Like that, we have different gatherings. One from Bijapur, Pune. And there's a big 40 people group in Hubli. This is like an IPL match going on across.
Okay. Bagalkot chapter, Ajay Sarnaik sir, or somebody, one question, please.
If you'd like to ask any question.
The other person, when I saw Sarnaik, I remembered that I forgot to mention him, is Basaraj Bommai. He was an entrepreneur when I started A Deccan in 95. Be right next to my house, and he was a total businessman. And I used to go and have a drink with him occasionally. And he had just been appointed political secretary to J.H. Patel. So one day before the launch of my airline, I think one day before the launch, I still not got the license. So I went and met Basaraj, Mr. Basaraj now. But for me, it's Basaraj. And he took one phone and called Mr. Patel. And, there were some problems in the airport of Jaipur, where helicopter landing permissions and things like that. So we go back a long way, and so I must thank many people who made many of my dreams come true, because it would not have been possible, without so many. That's the reason I said you cannot be and should not be cynical, critical, and skeptical. Cynicism is slow suicide. As Emerson said, cynicism is slow suicide. You have to believe in good things of people. There are good people. There are, of course, a lot of good people are there, and a lot of good things are there. So you must learn to appreciate, learn to be magnanimous in appreciating the good things, and that will make your life better, and achieve whatever dreams you have.
Friends, in fact, we can go on deep into the night. I think unfortunately there is curfew thanks to Corona in some cities. So we'll have to close by 9 p.m. outer limits. Otherwise, would really like to listen to the speaker today, through the deep night. So I would request that we can make a few more observations and questions and close at 9. I was just saying that we have our seniors here, Colonel Vijay B. Kumar and General Halgali sir. Both of you can also like to make some observations, and then we can. Ajay Sarnaik is here, our senior. So I think we would
request you. Mentioned BGV.
Yeah.
Since you mentioned BGV, one of my fondest vivid memories is visiting Vishwanath Kumar's house he had a great impact on me, like my father, because he was an income tax officer with, I think, 10 children, living in a small house. And imagine an income tax officer living in a small house.
Yes.
And he told his 10 children, you find your own wives.
Yes.
Especially the daughters saying that, you know, I can't afford to marry you. But what I remember about him is this impact of his life that made on me. Because when I used to go to his house, Vishwanath was not probably so much interested in literature, but he was a sportsman. But he took me to his, so I have to thank BGV. He would read poetry of Kuvempu, and he was also a good poet. He used to write poems, and he read a poem called Madikerili Manju. You know, I think BGV can recite it. He would read that poem to me, and you know, I would have hair rising experience. And his mother, she passed away, you know, just I think a few months ago. She was 90. She was going for a swimming in a swimming pool.
Yes, yes.
What better inspiration that you can have than parents
True.
like that?
True,
So
true.
many people have had, you know, somebody said, you know, what makes you, you know, a human being? Is it nature, or you know, it's combination of nature and nurture. Nature is your genes and what you inherit, and nurture is your society, your school, your friends.
True.
And these are some of the people I forgot to mention because.
Right, sir.
And digressing. Yeah.
General Hagli sir wants to comment. And
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Gopi sir, my thought is that since Gopal has allowed us all, Ajit, today to mount this entire philosophy called the knowledge highway. It's an Ajit highway, and we are all mounting it. I am wondering that if you could share how this highway will enable our Ajits today to get together on certain specific areas of commonality, our interest points, be able to share our entire experience that we have gained in life towards nation building, towards state building. I think this is something which is probably one of the aims that Gopal has set up, whether we create a think tank within our own fraternity of the knowledge forum, or how do we then create this network of easy interoperability between Ajits. That I think is a very fine subject. Maybe you will be able to expose us and guide us on that.
I think that will be presumptuous of me to you know, preach from the pulpit. But I think the way Ashok Dalwai and Gopal Hosur have, and the others, you know, the Knowledge Forum, Satija and others, you got one very fine writer, Commander Kesnor is here, I think, with us. I don't know if he's listening. So I think what has happened now in the introduction, the letters that Ashok has sent is extraordinary, you know, because see, if you are certain, you are certainly wrong, as Bertrand Russell said. Certainty is the when you say I'm ignorant, that will allow you to learn. Like Socrates said, you know, I'm the wisest man because I know I do not know. And therefore, I think we are on the right track. We are on the right track that we are not casting anything in stone. We are on a path of exploration. And as the Knowledge Forum, I think preamble and the speech of Ashok Dalwai said, and as you're also yourself saying, I think it should be a joint exploration by everybody, and it should evolve as we go by constantly listening to the members of the Ajit Forum. Everybody must listen, and by that listening, by a plurality of mind, diverse ideas, you know, the Rig Veda says, you know, let noble thoughts come to us from everywhere. That is Rig Veda 5,000 years ago. That you must keep your mind open to the currents of the world. And I think also there was another fine point that was made, that it should not be political, because sometimes I see in the group in which I am, some of our school people are there. There is a temptation to forward blind messages which are communal in nature or which are political in nature. I saw one of the members leaving, saying that he was against whatever was sent, and I think he was pro-Congress. Somebody said the pro-BJP thing. So he said, I'm leaving, and he quit the thing because there's an argument that ensued. So this is a knowledge forum. It's not a political forum. So keep your political things to yourself, and express it in an open forum like a newspaper or come on the TV and express it. Do not bring in politics to this forum. Have open mind. We have people from all communities in our school, in our country, and we have some of the dearest friends who are Sikhs, who are Jains, who are Muslims. So the great thing about the knowledge forum, as it says, it's knowledge. So wherever good knowledge which is beneficial to society, as you said, as Gopal sir also said, and Ashok Dalwai, ultimately the knowledge forum should not only help the Ajits, it should be set in the context of the country and humanity, because Tagore went even one step further. He said a narrow nationalism is poison. It can lead to a whole kind of problems. So your village, your family, your school, your nation, and the humanity, that should be the spirit. And I think we are on the right path. And all of you should jointly explore and evolve this. It should happen with an open mind.
Excellent. I think we can request Colonel BGV Kumar, sir, please, you wanted to speak. Yeah, he's having net problem. He's on and off. So, but if he is there by chance, now we can request him. And other one is Mr. Ajay Sarnaik also, another most humble and great friend of all of us. Yeah.
I have unmuted Bagalkot chapter. Ajay
Yeah.
Kumar Sarnaik, if you can share your remarks, please.
Good evening, everybody. Gopinath sir, it was a very motivating inaugural address from your side. I think this Ajit Knowledge Forum will go a long way. As you said, it will not only help the Ajits to gain knowledge, in the process, it will help the whole country also. And let us begin. I think Ashok Dalwai has said at the beginning, and let us see. We will have a positive look, and I hope this Ajit Knowledge Forum will help all the Ajits and every one of us. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. With your support, we will take it forward, certainly. Yeah. Is there anybody else? I think 9 o'clock we need to close. So, Prakash, I think, we will request everybody. I know there are a lot of questions I can see in the chat box also.
Prakash Modi had a question.
Yeah, but quick one, I think. Yeah, quick one. And then we'll ask Prakash Saigavi to vote, give a formal vote of thanks. Okay.
Hello, Gopi. This is Prakash from US. Very simple question. I mean, there are a lot of mistakes, a lot of did. What was your worst mistake you did? And what was the turning point in your life?
Turning point was definitely Sainik School. I think I have no complaints and no regrets. But sometimes, they ask, what would you do if you had a second chance? Maybe it was a mistake. Sometimes it occurs to me it was a mistake to make Vijay Mallya my partner.
Yeah.
But, I think it's too late to regret. But it was a great rewarding journey. The journey was exhilarating, and as Someone said it's better to travel than arrive.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
true all the time. It's better to travel than arrive. So on that
I mean,
score,
especially your speech made a lot of entrepreneurs to go back and think and to really be learned a lot of things. And your speech was to the heart, like any other science school candidate would talk to any other person. I did not see you like some entrepreneur or Gopinath out of the family. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sir, Ashok sir, should we end it, sir?
I think, unfortunately, all good things have to come to a close, but we will really like to request Captain Gopinath sir that he should be with us. You know, I mean, you with us, and we'll always seek your blessings and guidance all the time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, everyone. Good night.
There's a small little there's a formality that we need to do, because every program has a lot of people to thank. And may I, because we don't have much time, we'll request our colleague Prakash Saigavi.
So just before Saigavi proposes vote of thanks, I would request Gopinath sir to be present for the remaining sessions also as well.
Yes, certainly.
If you are free, sir. This is on the second Saturday of every second
that is
month.
a million.
So, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Just a few words about Prakash. Prakash is again from the 1975 batch. He completed his engineering and served in 2 states, in state of Karnataka and Maharashtra. Prakash, may I request you to please deliver your vote of thanks. I know which is extremely difficult after this thought-provoking lecture and inspiration for all of us. Prakash.
Thank you, Shiv. Good evening, Ajit brethren, ladies and gentlemen. Once a great man said, feeling gratitude and not expressing it is like wrapping a present and not giving it. Today, I take this opportunity to put all my gratitude in the form of words. We would not be here without our school's generosity. So first and foremost, I would like to thank our alma mater for giving us this opportunity to gather today for a cause that may benefit many and energize others. We have been fortunate enough to be backed by our beloved principal, Captain Vinay Tiwari, who accepted our request to be the chief guest of the occasion. Sir, you have been a constant support with your lively encouragement. My sincere thanks to you, sir. Today, we have been privileged to have had a multifaceted Ajit for the inaugural talk series. What an inspirational talk it was indeed by our fellow senior Ajit, Captain Guru Ramaswamy Iyengar Gopinath, fondly known as Gopi. So humble in expressions, clear in his thoughts, forthright in his words, a determination to achieve and excel. It's true that the glory of a man is not in falling, but rising every time. He tread where others feared. Perhaps it were these traits in him that raised him to a very high pedestal for all of us to see and try to emulate. An army officer, a farmer, a stockbroker, a writer, an entrepreneur, a politician, and whatnot, sir. We would have loved to hear you going on and on, except for the time limitations that we have. My sincere gratitude on behalf of AKF and our Ajit fraternity to you, sir. We are all inspired by your great words. Perhaps our young Ajits will surely see you in their mirror. I extend my sincere thanks to the teachers and non-teaching staff for their enormous efforts to join the event at the school, disturbing their regular schedule. My thanks to GD Kali sir for joining us today. I am sure our young budding Ajits or would-be Ajits shall be benefited from the pragmatic talk of Captain Gopinath. Our deep sense of appreciation to the president of AAA, Mr. Gopal Hosur, IPS, who is unfortunately sick, who has been a source of great guidance with cohesiveness for the association since long. Thank you, sir, for your motivational words. I also extend thanks to all the fellow Ajits for the enormous cooperation in the organization of the launching session of the AKF. Event like this cannot happen overnight. The wheels started rolling a few months ago. It required traffic planning with a bird's eye looking intricately the details therein. The bird's eye was being none other than Mr. Ashok Dalwai, the IAS, the captain of the steering ship of AAA 1975 batch, who is a luminary, a pious, and a multi-talented person who has accepted the challenge to be at the forefront for all the activities of AAA, right from institutionalizing to intricacies leading to hosting the AAA 2023. We at AKF have been fortunate enough to be backed by a team of very motivated and dedicated Ajits, led by Sudarshan Satija and Shashidhar Albur, who are result-oriented. Thanks to my fellow committee members, Sidram Nadgowda, Virendra Sharma, Shiv Prasad Kenneth, the Master of Ceremony, Dinesh Badgandi and Jagdish, the Q&A moderators, Santosh Tilgul, the Technical Director, Commodore Srikant Kesnur, Mohammad Parvez and Vijay Thakur for the contribution. Last but not the least, a huge thank you to all the Ajits, their families and friends who joined us today live through Zoom and YouTube. For those who have missed it, they can see the program at leisure on YouTube. We may have many Ajit stars in the horizon blinking far away. It shall be our endeavor to bring them as close as possible so that the Ajits, would-be Ajits, and perhaps the society can be enlightened through their life experiences and success journeys. Our next lecture session of the series is scheduled to be held on October 9th at 6 p.m. sharp. We are hopeful to have you in large numbers contributing for the betterment of the cause of AAA. Before signing off, I request you all to stand by for the playing of the national anthem. Thank you. Wishing you all a happy 75th Independence Day. Good night and God bless. Ajit hai, Abit hai. Please stand by.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Vande Mataram, Prakash.
Yes, sir.
Vande Mataram.
Vande Mataram. I think we should all join.
Yes, all should join.
Vande Mataram. Vande Mataram.
Mataram.
Subalam. Malaya
Sitalam. Sasya Shamalam.
Mataram. Vande Mataram.
Vande
Mataram. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.
Jai Hind, Ashok. Nice to see you, everybody.
Jai Hind.
Bye-bye.
Jai Hind.
Jai Hind. Thank you.
Hey,
Thank
thanks
you.
to team guys,
Thank you,
technical
sir.
guys. Very good
Thanks
job.
all, everybody. Thanks all. Thanks all. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Young Brigade, Jagdish, Santosh, thank you all of you. Good, well done, Shiva. Sidram, Virender, Sudarshan, all great.
Thank
Great
you,
work.
Jai Hind, sir.
Thank you.
Jai Hind, sir. Jai Hind, sir.
Jai. Bye, all of you. See you all on October 9th now. But more than that, on September 16th, We'll have the launch of our website by Maltesh Jivannavar. Be ready, all of you. Next
Yes,
event.
sir.
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir. Super, sir. Thank you, sir.
September
We are all
16th.
excited.
Yeah, Shobha, Maltesh, Milind, Sidram Nara, all of these people will be doing that job. Okay. And now
Yes.
again, once again, Santosh, both Santosh Humbal, Santosh Tilgur, all the young brigade will be there once again. Okay.